Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show 60. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, I like our timing here with our episodes. It seems like whenever we have a milestone episode on one, the very next day we've got a milestone episode with the other one. 60 episodes of the Monday Show, friend.
I know everything's in sync. It's crazy. I can't believe time is flying, man. I mean, especially with the show, it seems like. But I don't know. I don't know what else to think except for at least VR is catching up with it. It's flying as well. And I had a lot of fun playing VR this week.
Dude, did I ever have a lot of fun playing VR? As a matter of fact, I'm in a mad scramble here just to get onto the show because I got lost in my headset there and lost track of time and just happened to peek out at like 5 minutes till showtime and like, oh crap, I've got to get my crap together here. But yeah, it was cool, man. I got lost in an oldie but a goodie, but we're going to talk about it here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, it sounds like me for 15 minutes. At least it was 15 minutes when I saw the time was ready, and I was like, oh shit, I started scrambling. I didn't even have my coffee ready. That was like a big no-no. Gonna wake up, so
Yeah, got to have that coffee for the Monday show
yeah.
as we go on into the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I see it's working for rendered reality. They're drinking coffee, so I got to have my coffee as well, even though it's night and now I won't be able to sleep. But what a better time to not be able to sleep than with the Quest 2 and all these games we have to play, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the polar opposite of rendered reality here. It's like they have to have coffee on their show because they do it at like the butt crack of dawn, where we're a little more night owl here on Monday night as opposed to Saturday morning.
Yeah, I find coffee too. Caffeine in general just gets my mind working and a better time flowing. So with my words, so even if I screw myself later tonight, podcast Roots is happy. Not sleeping Roots will be pissed at podcast Roots, but at least it'll be a good podcast. That's all that matters. So
This should be an epic podcast. Yesterday we spent the vast majority of the show talking about hardware, talking about the Oculus Quest 2 hardware and every little aspect of it. Today, we are going to talk about the games. As we always do on the Monday show, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. Just so happens this week, we've been playing a lot of games. So, this is basically going to encompass our entire show. The topic and the games are one and the same this week. And we have got an epic list of games here. I didn't even count, but there's a lot of them.
yeah, I just started going into game after game and just writing them down, jotting them down, and it was a lot of fun. I haven't done something like this for a while where I was like going in to check test stuff, and see how this ran and see if it ran wirelessly and see if it, what runs better and how it looks and sounds and I don't know, it just kind of like I said yesterday, it reinvigorated my I guess just how much I'm psyched for VR. My enthusiasm. So
Yeah, I love it when we get new hardware because it allows us to go back through our favorites. And to be honest, as VR enthusiasts, all we're really trying to do anyway is relive those early days when we first came into VR. So every time we get a new piece of hardware, it allows us to really relive those days like no other time. So it's a great time, especially now through the end of the year because there's so much new hardware coming. We should be in that perpetual state of reliving these old games for the rest of the year because I mean we've got Quest 2 now. I've got G2 coming within a month, and it's going to be the same thing all over again. Going back and checking out all this new stuff. We've got PlayStation 5 coming in the same little span. So once again, we're going to go back and check out all those old games, and then fingers crossed, hopefully one day I'll be able to get my hands on a new graphics card, and then we can do it all again. So now through Christmas time, it should be a nonstop loop, not only of new games, but replaying of the old favorites as well.
speaking of graphics cards, you piqued my interest, man. I was thinking of Zach Fontaine today when I was doing my virtual desktop stuff. You know what I mean? Because having that 3090 to push versus my 2080, I can imagine you'd be able to tweak things even that much further up because believe it or not, and I think you even said it, not only the virtual desktop is more strenuous on your hardware, but the link even is more strenuous on your hardware. So what you might have been able to push a little bit further on that display cable, you're not going to be able to push so much on links. Everything changes, and then of course the higher res display. So I don't know what the fuck to super sample to, man. Sometimes I'm just playing a regular game and I'm playing Kobold or something, or I'm just playing something that should be playing really, really well, and I'm like, fuck, man, it looks so good, but it's just strenuous on the hardware, right? At least when I'm looking at the FPS meter. So there's a lot of stuff to take in, and I think it's exciting.
Yeah, it's making our computer outdated pretty quickly. All of this extra resolution and various rendering methods. What you're saying is true, and it's absolutely the case sometimes that when you're playing a game, be it with Link or with Virtual Desktop, that you're maxing out your resources, which doesn't leave anything for capturing the game or streaming, which is again something else that taxes your hardware. So as overpowered as the 3000 series cards are, us as VR content creators, we need that power. So I really hope to be able to get my hands on one of these cards soon.
Chris Richardson says he upgraded to Wi-Fi 6 mesh network today, if I can speak. And the difference it made for Beat Saber was night and day. Is my rendition of what he just said, because Chris, I lived what you're talking about. There's one of the things I'm going to be raving about here in a little bit, and the wireless it is blowing me away. And now, granted, I don't know as much on. I guess Wes will tell us a little bit more on the because you don't have a Wi-Fi 6, right? It's just a regular good router. So
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll kind of see how everybody's performance was as far as that, because some people are saying they're getting really good results as well from that. So
yeah, we will get to that. But before we get started, as always, we'd like to say hello to our friends in the chat. Hussein X, Frank, glad to see that you could make it, buddy. Skiva in the house. What's up, friend? As you mentioned, Chris Richardson. Drew is in the house. Hello, Drew. Fabster. Fabster. I read that correctly. Scion, what's up, friend? Roy Schwartz, good to see you. Boyd Citizen, I guess you're home from work now. That's awesome. Brandon 135 and Onakazi. So a nice little crew showing up for a late episode of the Monday Show, Roots.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank wants to know what a meshed network means. I don't even know. I know it has to do with a bunch of things working together, right? In a network. I mean, it's more about the Wi-Fi 6.
I have no clue. I have no clue what that means.
It's more about the Wi-Fi 6 than it is the mesh network. And maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as I could see, every Wi-Fi 6 had a mesh network. But, if I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm sorry. But the main thing is the Wi-Fi 6 allows more data to flow at a faster rate. And so it just gives you a better experience in virtual desktop. And I would have to say enough people have confirmed it for me. Chris Richardson's one of them, myself, and a couple of other people. It seems to be really, really does seem to help, because a lot of these type of things you do and it doesn't do shit. And you're like, why did I just spend $200 on this router when I could have just kept it? So.
Yeah, Skiva says it's a multiple router setup that uses a mesh system. So apparently it's more than one router involved here.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess the router I have, it can be meshed, but it's not because I only have one. So
yeah, I am using two routers. Actually, I'm using one that's exclusive to my computer and my Quest, and that's my gaming router, my good router. And then I have my old router that's still feeding internet to the entire family here. And I do have my routers hooked together. Instead of having my gaming router going into the modem, it just goes into the other router to get the internet signal.
See, I saw you say that. For me, I tried to do that. At least I tried to leave the Wi-Fi on my modem because it's built into it. and then also my Wi-Fi 6. And for whatever reason, they were conflicting. Like I could not have the other ones going and have Wi-Fi 6. It was just making it really weird. As soon as I cut them out, everything evened out and I was able to do it. So I'm assuming there's a conflict, which kind of bums me out because I really want to have my own network for myself. And I'm almost tempted to just tell my roommates to stick it because I don't charge them for my internet. I just pay for my internet and give it to them for free. So
there's another way that you can organize that. I'm sure that your computer do you have 2 LAN ports on the back of your computer?
I don't know.
See, mine has 2 LAN ports on it, and it can run multiple connections. I can run both LAN connections simultaneously. I can run the LAN connections with the Wi-Fi. So what you could just do, you don't need the internet to run wireless virtual desktop. You could just use that router for connecting to your Quest with no internet involved, and then use the other router to connect to the internet. As long as you can run multiple connections on your computer.
Yeah, I don't know how everything you just said sounds foreign to me, but hey, if it works, it works. I do want to kind of look into it because I would like to have an isolated thing. But as far as I know, I've got such a fast internet, and the router is supposed to be able to handle multiple things going on. I don't know that it would slow it down, but maybe it does,
Well, I mean, with the results you're having, you probably don't need to change anything. Apparently, it's working pretty well for you as it is, huh?
Yeah, except for a couple games, that was one of the things I was reading back in Discord. Jim Hall asked me after the last show, because I was raving about the wireless, he asked me, Roots, do you have any reason to have the link cable? I mean, pretty much he said, Roots, did you just waste $80 is what I read. And part of me believed I did, aside from like, okay, I need to, my batteries ran low. I want to charge up my thing, but I still want to play. I can still do that, but there are a couple games that I'm going to talk about today that I could not get to play wirelessly smoothly at all. And it's one of them, I think, is optimization. And I think the other one is, like you were saying, it's just so much. I mean, it's just so much shit going on in the game. And even the Rift S and other games had a little bit of trouble as far as running it. So
yeah, it's always good to have the other as a fallback. You never want all your eggs in one basket, right? So while I don't really think it's necessary for you to have the expensive cable, you very well, if you need the money, could refund that cable and do a $40 setup like mine that works just as well. With the speed testing, it's just as fast. But regardless of that, you want to make sure that you have something, right?
yeah, absolutely. And Scion's he's doing the same old song and dance. Refund on prescription lenses. You said 30 days refund. You're even wrong on that, man. I looked at my refund, my receipt for everything I've been buying lately, and it says after October 16th, at least Best Buy, it's now considered Christmas time. So you have all the way till January 16th, bro. You got months to try it. So
I mean, Scion, he says, how about a refund on prescription lenses? Well, what you could do, Scion, and this is just call me crazy here, but while you're in the trying it out phase, you could put your glasses or contact lenses in for just a moment. And then if the IPD works for you with your glasses or contact lenses, then when you decide you're going to keep it, then you order your prescription lenses.
ooh.
You don't just order them right up front to try just in case it works. But hey, you're fine to stick with your current hardware all day long. I'm just saying you could give it a try before you decide that it's not for you.
Yeah, he's gonna do the index. He says, I don't have a moral dilemma with buying it with the intention to return it if I don't like it. Kind of think that's why a lot of these places like Best Buy or Walmart are so lenient in that respect, because yeah, they don't want you to return it, but they absolutely want you to buy it from them to try it. And then that's the dilemma. Sometimes I decide to keep it. Sometimes I decide to say, screw you. And I hope there's no scratches on the lenses from Scion's glasses. And that's what I would do
Yeah.
anyway.
He
But
says glasses can scratch it, but one, not really, not if you're careful. But two, even if they did, it's not like Walmart's like scanning the lenses down before they take your return. That they'll give your money back, bro. For real.
yeah, just think of it this way, okay? Kind of like Wes did. Wes went and got that unit knowing he wasn't going to probably keep it. Just do that, you know? This is a tester. You're not going to keep this one. Even if you like it, you return it. And then you get a fresh one.
Let me tell you what, dude. I thought it might end up being a keeper today because I smacked the shit out of my table with the controller today.
Ooh. I'll tell you what, those controllers are really actually very well put together, man. Like they're so solid. Kind of like when you hit something with the CV1, you almost knew you weren't breaking the controller. You barely tapped that fucking Rift S or Quest 1 and just, oh shit, oh, thank God I didn't break it. They were pretty fragile. And so I don't know. I'm happy with my my wider Radio Runt not endorsed controller. So
Scion says he's going to wait for an Index 2. He might be waiting a while, bro. You might want to go for the Cosmos Elite, the one that uses base stations. If you don't, if the Index right now isn't good enough for you, the way it is, which I don't know why it wouldn't be, you can do the Valve, or I'm sorry, the Vive Cosmos with the base station tracking. It's got a higher resolution than the Index has, and it still has that perfect tracking where you can hide your hands behind your back for 5 minutes and not lose tracking.
5 minutes, damn, dude. What are you doing with that disc behind there for 5 minutes?
I don't know, not me, but I'm just saying that's what Scion does when he plays VR. So,
and I say if he wants to wait for the Index, that's a good headset to save up for. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
As long as you're moving forward, I think that's a good thing, you know? So,
yeah. And again, who are we to criticize?
yeah.
I mean, if he's happy with what he has, then more power to him. I couldn't do it. I wasn't happy with CV1 completely when I had one. Like, I mean, my PlayStation VR looked better visually than the CV1 did. So,
I loved
to each their own. I guess we all have different eyes, right?
I loved my CV1, but anybody that says CV1 is by any means perfect tracking is not honest with themselves.
You know what D-Rail said? D-Rail said that the tracking on Quest 2 is superior to the tracking on Rift S or Quest 1, which, you know, I never really had much of a problem with any of them, so I couldn't really go that far as to say that. But I can say it's been pretty damn spot on so far.
Absolutely. I would agree with D-Rail in the sense that I have not noticed one glitch, one iota, one, oh my God, what happened to my hands floating away or whatever. Nothing. So, I don't know. I think it works. It's really good. I'm surprised that there's one less camera. You know, I'm surprised we didn't get a free headset with as much as we're sucking this Quest off. No, it's such a good headset that it's hard not to rave about it. Outside of the few problems people have with it. So
yeah. It's hard not to be enthusiastic when you're a VR enthusiast and you have a headset that's first in so many different categories. It's hard not to be enthusiastic about it, right?
Yeah, Radio Run says Quest 2 is one of the best purchases he's made. He has one complaint: controllers are too heavy for Autica. Well, you know, if you're as good at Autica as you are Radio Run, I guarantee any little thing that's going to throw you off. So I bet that's real, man. Like you're going to have to relearn it all, right?
Well, what's going to happen is he's going to build his arms up a little bit better, and all of a sudden it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Radio Run just passed Coach Tony on one of his scores last week. I think it was last week, and man, that I can see it. I can see why it would be so competitive, but you'll get used to it. And just think about this: if you accidentally smack it into something while you're playing Autica, you're not going to break your controller like you probably would have with the Rift S. So, problem solved.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. I think I might break my table before I break one of those controllers.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you what, man. That's pretty solid. So,
anyway, we've got an epic list of games to talk about our experiences in here. I guess Roots, we're just going to go right down the list that we have up on the web page here.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's the way I just went down that list and just put them in here. So,
All right. So the way we've got things organized here, friends, we're Roots and I are going to talk about pretty much everything that we've played in the last 6 days, and it's a pretty substantial list. Some games we're going to spend more time on than others, obviously, but we do have it divided out into sections, much like the title here. We've got the OG Quest games that have not been enhanced. We're going to talk about those first. Then we're going to talk about a few of the enhanced Quest games. Then we're going to move on to PC games. We're going to talk about stuff we played through Oculus Link, and then we're going to round out the discussion talking about games that we tried in virtual desktop, which is going to be mostly Roots talking because I just got it straightened out today. So I only played one title in virtual desktop, but Roots played like a billion. So
yeah.
uh, we'll pass it off to him when we get there.
Cool.
Anyway, let's start it off at the very top of the OG Quest games, and it's hard to call this first one an OG Quest game, but I think that I'm pretty sure it's not been enhanced yet for Quest 2. So the game supposedly outside of the bump you get from the resolution and the screen, we're looking at very much the same game on both headsets. And the reason why it's odd because it's a brand new game just released, Dash World. And of course, we would like to start off by thanking the developer for providing Roots and I with a review copy of this. I don't know about Roots. I just scratched the surface on this game. I got in it, did a tutorial, did a few of the races in the story mode, and just scratch the surface on it really quickly. Definitely coming back to this game because I don't know about you, Roots, but man, I forgot how good it was. In a way, I knew it was good, but they've addressed some of my complaints that I had from the beta version.
Oh, I'll be interested to hear a couple of those complaints. For me, I going in there, it was like I put on an old glove, right? Mario Kart's always been my jam since I was a kid, and I'm really good at those turns. It's the whatever you call it. I don't even know, the skid turns or whatever. And so,
Drifting.
yeah, drifting. And man, I just started smoking the computer on every. I mean, I was doing the story mode and I was just smoking them on every one. It felt good. It made me want to get in there and just smack Radio Run around a little bit. I want to get into multiplayer because I love this game. Just any game that's this intricate as far as Mario Kart-esque types of games. And like I said, touring carts was okay, but this one is just so much better graphically, and there's just so many things. Now, one thing I will say that I didn't like about this, and I think I played the original. I played on the Rift S, and maybe I'll have to go back and play on the Rift version once they do the crossplay. I was shooting one of the machine guns, and it didn't feel right. Like it felt weird, or it didn't. I don't know. I remember it. Of course, I think they added it maybe since I've done it last, but maybe they can hear this and tweak that a little bit for Roots. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have any such issues with this game. It turned out to be what I had hoped it would, and it's not very surprising. Motion X Studio, um, they were very hands on with the beta process, right? They wanted to know what people thought, what people wanted, and for the most part, from what I can tell, they've implemented just about every bit of it. My biggest issue with the beta version is that there was no tutorial, and I never really could quite get a grip on the controls until right before it left beta. I had a chat with I think it was Fluke Rogi, and he filled me in on a few of the things I didn't know how to do. One of which was drifting. Like you were, I was trying to use the brake to drift,
Mm.
and it wasn't working very well. But then he filled me in on exactly how you do it, and you know, I got a lot better at the game at the very last moment. But then the beta was over, so I was happy to see as soon as you start the game up now, it gives you the option of taking the blue pill, which puts you into the race, or taking the red pill, which brings you into the tutorial, which is the way I went. And they don't only teach you the basics of driving, but they let you use all the weapons as well. So by the time you actually get into the race, you know what you're doing. And like you, I went into the story mode and just absolutely destroyed the AI.
Oh wow. No, I don't feel so. I thought I was doing good. If you crushed him as well, maybe I just did average. We both did average. Or maybe we both did good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just a solid game, and now I have something to hold against Fluke Rogi. I was probably gonna kick Wes's ass next time I raced him, and now you just took that away from me, Fluke.
The tutorial would have taught me either way,
Oh,
bro.
that's right. That's right. Nah, it's definitely a solid game. And so let me ask you this. I know that you, I think you have 2 copies of it as far as on both things, the platforms. Have you tried playing it with your family?
No, not yet. I gotta wait on my other headset to get here before I
Oh,
can.
that's right. Shit, I always forget you only have one headset right now. You ghetto West, although I look behind you and you got more shit than me. So,
I guess we could do it for about 5 minutes when I have both of the headsets open because
oh,
I do have two quests here right now, right?
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah,
That's pretty
just for a
cool.
minute, and then we'll. But actually, I think I'm going to take the other one back tomorrow. So I don't know. I don't know how much time I'll have to do that, but it won't be long before my G2 gets here, and we can absolutely do that.
Yeah, I think that's cool. That's gonna be fun.
Which I don't know how that'll work. You know, with the game being on the Oculus platform, if I would have to run Revive to play it on G2.
That's a good question. I don't know. I would imagine you'd have to, which kind of sucks, huh?
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out. Let me ask you this: I kind of felt like when I was playing it on the Quest 2, I could definitely see the room for improvement. Why it would need a let me. Did you play it standalone or did you just play it on PC?
I played it standalone, but I mean, I did play it in the beta. That's how I played it, was on the PC. So I have more experience in the PC than I do on the standalone.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the full release new version of it as a standalone. I could see some things that are indicative of a Quest game that I felt like the hardware had enough power to to uh, to alleviate. Like I felt like the draw distance at times was a little bit short. I saw some aliasing and shimmer, especially off in the distance. I feel like these things could be alleviated with a Quest 2 enhancement patch. So I hope the developer's working on one. But did you experience or notice any of this?
Well, I like I said that it just showed it, that machine gun. It's like a Uzi, right? It was the way it felt and it was the way it looked. The flashing on the muzzle, it just didn't. It looked a little cheesy. Like it didn't look like, you know what I mean? Like there's just little things like that that they could really fine tune. That's Quest 1, bro. That's not Quest 2. So.
I got you. But the gameplay was absolutely there. It was just as I remember it, only better now because I actually know how to play the game. And that I would imagine is probably the biggest upgrade from the original dash beta version. Is it's a complete game now, right? It's got all of these different modes, all of this different stuff you can do on the peripheral outside of racing. It feels like a complete game, and I kind of question the price tag when they isn't this a $30 game? Am I mistaken about that?
Yeah, I think so. It might be 25, but I think 30's right.
Yeah, I was kind of questioning that when I heard it. I thought maybe it was a little overpriced, but I don't think so anymore. This seems like a legitimate, uh, full-fledged AAA VR production. It seems like Mario Kart in VR without Mario. So kudos to Motion X Studios. They've done a great job here, and a lot more to come on this game on our channel in the next couple of weeks. I'll probably even do a gameplay of it, Roots, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. You know, one thing I would recommend to the devs, which I don't think this is I think this will end up happening anyway, because they seem to be very very good developers, right? Just from the way that they did all the beta and getting all the information and really fine tuning their game. But I would suggest don't stop. Like, even if you fine tune the game to where you think it's perfect, keep adding tracks. Like, down the road, I want to have 20, 30 tracks. I mean, maybe that's unrealistic, but the more tracks, the better. And it just makes it that much more fun. That was one of the best things about Mario Kart is you had like a whole bunch of different cups to unlock and different shit and different levels. And you know what I mean? Like, it was a lot of tracks. And so, add more tracks and make Ruuts happy. That's all I got to say.
Would you be willing at a certain point to start paying for those tracks?
Yeah,
Like if they
DLC.
were
Hell yeah,
$3
dude.
a piece.
I'd rather pay $3 a track than a fucking DLC for a music game, with songs and bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, at least a new track, 3 new tracks is, I mean, that's big, dude. In a game like this, that's huge. So absolutely, I would pay more. I think everybody would pay more. So
Absolutely, I would in a game like this. Now, obviously, not just any game can go out there and start trying to make extra money off of DLC. But when you've got such a polished game and experience as this, you need things to keep it fresh. And by that's really one of the only ways with a racing game that you can do that is by giving people new tracks to race on.
yeah, and then once you get to a certain number where there's just so many to cycle through, it never gets old, right? I mean, that's one of the best things about Grip. There's so many different tracks, and you're always picking somebody. Like, you pick an ice level that Mamefan's in there, you know he hates them, and so you make sure you pick the ice one. You try to pick your competitor's weaknesses. It's fun.
Yeah. But anyway, thumbs up from me. I really I appreciate all of the polish that they've put on this. I love that there's a training mode now. I love that there's a story mode now. I love that it's not just a multiplayer free for all kind of bare bones thing like it was before. It feels like a game now, like a legitimate game, and I recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anybody that has it that wants to hook up for a game, you know what to do. There's a link in the description, an invitation to our Discord. There's a channel in there called Looking for a Group, and that's where we get together for our multiplayer sessions, and a lot more of Dash Dash to come for me over the next couple of weeks. So hit us up on the Discord and let's play.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on. This next title is another one that has yet to be patched and get the Quest 2 enhancements. But Ruuts, you wouldn't know it from playing it, would you? Because this is a very polished, very beautiful looking game that we've already raved about, or I have rather, a bunch on this channel, and that is In Death Unchained. This game was beautiful on the Quest 1, Ruuts, and already played flawlessly. Enhancements coming for it. But again, to step into the game now as it stands, you'd think it was already patched.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little jealous of all your crazy creatures you have in your version there. I keep wanting to pick. There's so many games I want to pick up, Wes, but like somebody said, man, these games are expensive, and it's not that they're expensive because they're really $24, $19, $30. It's not that expensive, but when you have a whole bunch of games that you want to get, and when you already own a version of the same game, it's hard for me to shell out that money, especially when rent week is this week. And so, like, everything is coming at once. I just bought all sorts of shit. Just bought this new ModMic. I mean, I don't have any more money for games, Wes. Like, so I'm so grateful not only for the free games we've gotten from the devs and then the cross buy, but for you, because I didn't even know, like, Wes had gotten some keys for like Radial G and different games and was like slipping them into my Oculus Quest account. I had games I didn't even know I had on there, bro. I loaded it up. I was like, holy shit, I have Radial G. I didn't know I had that. So I think it's cool.
Oh, dude, you need to try out Radial G. Proteus is it's a blast. It's by far the best Radio G game in VR.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely. I only went into it for a minute to see because I wanted to make sure it wasn't a demo. That's another thing that trips you out. Is like I keep thinking I have a whatever it is, Beat Saber, and then I noticed that ugly, dirty word demo. There's 4 letters that I want to punch in the face. I can't do demos.
You can remove them off of your library, I think, if you get tired of looking at them.
Yeah, I should just buy it. As much as I've got family that would love to play Beat Saber when I'm not at home. I should probably just end up shelling out the money. So.
But anyway, I did go into this game as an unenhanced standalone game. This was one of the first that I played from my library. One of the first 2 or 3 games that I played when I got the headset on day one, and it grabbed me just like it grabbed me before. And it was kind of crazy, Roots, because like I'd already been up for hours and hours and needed sleep. I said, well, just 5 minutes really quickly. Going to hop into In Death Unchained just to see what it looks like under the new screen, right? And then I ended up playing through like a whole level of it. Just because it feels so good. The headshot these guys, the way they've got the audio synced up when you hit these guys in the head with an arrow, it's a good feeling. It's a good feedback loop, a nice reward uh, for your proficient gameplay.
It's just addictive. It's just one of those games that you've said before. You have that one more thing. You die and you're like, fuck, man. And I don't know if maybe I'm imagining this. Of course, this isn't the Unchained version, but I feel like it's getting harder. Like, do you progress to a certain point and then all of a sudden you have more enemies? Because I start and all of a sudden it's like a lot more shit at the beginning, and I'm like, what happened? Like, what happened to the easy peasy days of early back when what Roots could just feel really like I was badass? All of a sudden I got so much coming at me. I don't know. I love this game. I've spent probably the most amount of time in Death so far this week, and it's not even a game that I usually play. So.
Well, that's one of the great things about In Death is that no 2 runs are the same. The game constantly adapts to what you did the last time. So as you play through a game, your experience level rises, you gain new achievements, and the next time you start it, the entire thing's different. Like you said, there'll be more enemies. The layout of the maps are different. There'll be new enemy types unlocked. So, like, you'll get stronger enemies at the very beginning of the game one time than you did the last time, just based on the fact that you've leveled up your character through hours of gameplay. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. The numbers of enemies increase from the very start of the game, as do the new enemy types unlock earlier. So yeah, it just gets harder and harder.
I'm screwing myself every time I do good. I'm making it harder the next time. What the hell am I doing? That's really cool. That's actually a really cool thing that you don't see in a lot of games, right? Where, especially when in a roguelike, I don't know. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, it goes both ways. You get these harder enemies and you get more enemies, but it also, I mean, you are chasing the scoreboard in this game is pretty much what you're doing. So having more enemies isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just an opportunity to score more points.
Yeah, well, whoever this is that's playing this version is not very good at headshots. I swear it's not me. I'm a decent at headshots, actually. I'm probably not as good as you are at Wes as it is, but the good thing about bow and arrow thing, and Derail was telling me this, and I agree. It's one of those games that you can tell how good the tracking is, because if the tracking is off your bow, you're constantly moving your bow to try to keep up with the weirdness of it. And this thing is so flawlessly perfect that I just can't believe how good it is. So
yeah, it's what that has been my experience as well through both Oculus Quests. Playing this game, the tracking is spot on, never an issue with it. And obviously, if it were any different, then really the game wouldn't be playable.
Onakazi says one of the ways he sees devs sidestep cross-buy is by changing the name like In Death to In Death Unchained, but I'm pretty sure that this version is a different version as far as different enemies, different gameplay. I mean, it's similar gameplay. Obviously, it's bow and arrow, but it's not a complete port over.
No, this is not a port. This is built from the ground up by an entirely different developer, mind you. This is not the same developer that made the other versions of In Death. This is made by Super Bright, another great Polish VR developer. And there's a lot of extra content here that's not in the first one. There's a whole new level that wasn't in the first game. So literally like a third of the game more than the original version. And there's game modes. I mean, there's game modes in this that are not present in the original either. So yeah, completely new dev team, completely different game. I mean, there are the two levels, and there's a lot of similarities. It's In Death, but yeah, that comment might be the case for some games, but it absolutely is not for this one.
Oh, damn it. You just convinced me I got to buy this Unchained, Wes. You just took money out of my wallets and put it in Super Bright's pocket. So.
Well, I mean, there's even more coming. They said in November that that there's another game mode coming, like more DLC coming, and they're doing a quest enhancement patch.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I mean, it's already beautiful, so I don't know. I could only imagine what it's going to be like after that happens.
I just love this game so much that when I'm not at home playing it wirelessly on my PC, I would like to be able to play it somewhere else. So I think it's definitely worth picking up. It's what, $24.99? I believe.
I'm not even sure what the price is on it. I could check.
Yeah, I thought I knew. I don't know. I've been looking at prices. See, that's the thing, Wes. With PC, I had gotten past that, man. My first year of PC VR, and you can look at my list of Steam VR games and Oculus games. It's proof of it. I bought a fuck ton of games, man. Every time I was looking, every day I was looking at what game do I need to buy.
I remember when Ruuts would just buy everything for a while. We just talk about it one day, and later that day it was in the library.
Yeah, and so like I'm now at the point where I'm feeling that way again, Wes. Like, and that's the beauty of this 256 gig Quest. Every game I own is on there, Wes, and I still have like a couple hundred gigs left, man. You know, it's a good feeling to know I can have everything I want to show people and go. I don't have to worry about, oh shit, I don't have room. I got to delete it and download something else. It's a lot of space for a Quest 2, I think, 256, right?
Yeah, man. You're starting to see what I'm talking about here with the size of these titles, right? They're minuscule. It's hard to believe that they could actually even fit the thing into such a small file, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's cool. It gives you a lot of room to grow, and you know, I got things I didn't even think I would have, like you know, a game I'm going to talk about later, or I guess it's more of an experience I didn't even know existed. I'm sure we talked about it, but it came in one ear and went out the other, and I picked it up. It was really cool.
So I'm trying to get the price of this In Death Unchained here. It's telling me that I've purchased it. So then I logged out.
I don't understand why it does that. Why not just tell me I purchased it?
It logged me right back in. Like I didn't. Like, man, just let me know what the damn price is.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll find it here in 2 seconds. You know, it's funny because I gotta be quick, Wes, because if I linger too long, I might just buy it, and I don't want to do that right now. $29.99. So worth every penny.
There you go. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that statement. This is a better game on Quest than it is on PC, and you can't always say that. You can't often say that. Normally, the PC version's better for most games, but not the case here. This is a better version than PC or PSVR version.
Wow, I'm definitely getting it.
All right, let's see here. We need to move on to the next game, which is, this one's Ruuts. This one's all Ruuts. I have never played Coaster Combat, but this was on your top 5 most wanted list before you got your headset. So tell me, what do you think? What do you think about Coaster Combat?
Man, I liked it so much. I told you I think you should pick it up with your $10 or $20 credit. You know, and what's funny is there's people in this chat like Void Citizen, Paradise Decay. Like that's what's kind of cool is you see the leaderboard, right? And then when I get done and I see I smoked them all, I feel really good about it, Wes. But what's really cool is the themes. You know, like this one's neon something or light. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Space Mountain-y, like futuristic. You got the pirate ship. You got the Himalayan. It's kind of like the abominable snowman from the original. What was that ride at Disneyland? I can't remember what the hell the ride was now, but anyway, so you have all, I guess that's what this is, right? So you have all these different levels, man, and it's just so cool. And it's really about the shooting, Wes. Everything feels so good.
How many different levels?
There's 5 tracks. You have a easy and a hard level, and then it unlocks the gold something mode, which I think is just trying to get as many gold medals in a row, kind of like another leaderboard thing. But these can actually be played as well as just the roller coasters if you don't want to mess with the shooting. But what's the best part about this, especially in the hard mode, is you got all those guys coming on the track, different things, shooting, throwing things at you, and then you actually have different points where you can shoot the thing that changes the rail car, and you go a different way. So there's multiple ways you can go. And it's just really cool. I have one that kind of reminds me of the Haunted Mansion. I feel like a lot of these were kind of based similarities, that, at least for me, maybe just because I had such a big Disney upbringing. But it seemed like a lot of Disney rides. Like I was almost on a lot of these old Matterhorn rides or whatever, right? But I was in VR shooting stuff, so it was really cool. It's only $10.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the kind of the big draw of it for me is that it is only $10, and I love Rush of Blood so much that I would like more levels. How does the gameplay feel compared to like a Rush of Blood?
See, I don't know. I mean, it's been so long since I played Rush of Blood, and I'd hate to steer you in one direction or not another because you're like, dude, that wasn't anything like that. I enjoyed it. I really had fun. I know your kids especially would really dig this. And the thing is these environments looked so good, man. I can't imagine how it looked in the original. Was this a Gear game back in the day? I know it was a Go game, but they look so good. The environments, it just blows me away. Especially the volcano one, the first one. Like you're going in and there's lava coming down and shit. And I feel like it reminded me of like the Indiana Jones minecart parts in the movies, you know, where they were doing the chases and stuff. And I don't know if you ever played the original, like the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom video game, I think it was. But there was like parts where you had to go through the minecarts. It reminded me of that. So I get a lot of nostalgia from different things that maybe they weren't intending, maybe they were. But I really enjoyed it. And for a $10 game that's so simple, especially since, in my opinion, most of the roller coasters in VR suck. Epic roller coasters, whatever. They're just, they're okay.
Well, that was the actually the next thing I was going to ask you about is what the coaster action was like. Is it fast? Do you really feel the movement? Is it intense?
It feels like you're moving fast, but I never felt sick. I've never felt sick from roller coasters either. So I don't know. You know, I don't trust my opinion in this respect, as far as you go, because I think No Limits 2 is amazing, and you're like, I'm not really feeling it. But I was admitting that maybe it was because you were trying to ride it like the way you normally would. I think you said you look down at the card, or I can't remember, or you don't look down. One or the other kind of takes away. But like, see, here's another. This is the neon lights one. It's just a lot of cool different tracks, and I think it feels fast paced. So
cool.
And each one of them has different guns too. Like the Haunted Mansion one, you got like magic wands that look like they're out of Harry Potter, and it feels like you're zipping through the Haunted Mansion of Disneyland. You know, it's cool.
Yeah, man, it sounds cool. And there's actually another title of this genre that I've yet to play as well, called Darkness Roller Coaster, which initially got some pretty rough reviews, but I think they've improved it a lot since. So it might be worth a look as well. That's on PC and PlayStation, of course, not on Quest. But Yeah, I think you've convinced me here, Roots. I like the genre. Obviously, I love roller coasters. I love shooting. They go so well together. I think I might give it a shot.
Yeah, and especially like that Himalayan one. It's like a downhill one. There's parts where you're going straight down shooting stuff, and it looks like you're just going straight down. It's crazy.
Well, that's what I want. That's the best part of Rush of Blood is when the coasters really take off. Because I maintain to this day that Rush of Blood is the best roller coaster I've tried in VR. I've tried a lot of garbage ones, but when you know get to the top and start downhill in Rush of Blood, you really feel it. Your stomach comes up into your throat almost because it's such an intense thing. It's my favorite part of well, one of my favorite parts of the game. So, just based on the potential to get some part of that, I feel like it's worth the $10 gamble here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, we're going to move on to the next game, and the next game I would categorize as a classic VR game. And you don't really realize just how classic it is until you strap it back on after all of these months, in some cases years. And this was the game that almost made me late for the show, Roots. Uh, I'm talking about Thumper, and not enough people talk about Thumper. This is a rhythm game, but it's different from any kind of rhythm game that that has become popular in VR. Rhythm games kind of have people have kind of an idea of what a rhythm game in VR is. Thumper was the original VR rhythm game, and it's still to this day very different from anything else out there.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I don't know, man. It brought back a lot of memories for me just from when I played it the last time because it was so crazy, and I forgot how good it is, and it looks so good in the Quest, right? I didn't even know I owned it on Oculus Rift. I forgot, and it was there in my as a cross-buy title, which another again, what a great thing to see in your library, and it just you. It's funny because it doesn't feel like a rhythm game in the beginning. It's almost like if you don't know that, you could just be doing it, and then all of a sudden it dawns on you, you're like, oh shit, this is making music. What I'm doing, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy, and visually, it's one of the coolest looking trippy games that I've played in a while.
Yeah, and after you get the button combinations down and stuff, you almost feel like you could play it with your eyes shut. Uh, at least in the early stages where it holds your hand a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think I went like through 4 or 5 levels this time, but last time I played it, I went quite a ways, and it just really does have a sense of speed as well. And what did you think about how it looked in the Quest 2 without any enhancements?
So yeah, this is not an enhanced game, and I can tell you that while the Quest version of Thumper is similar to other versions, it is a little bit dialed back in some of the visuals in the far off distance. They're a little less complex, but just the step up in clarity alone in the hardware from Quest 1 to Quest 2 makes this game look significantly better on the Quest 2 than it did on the Quest 1. This is a game that could benefit greatly, I feel like, from an enhancement patch because while it does look awesome and it really does look great inside the new hardware, I feel like that hardware is probably capable of recreating the PC version of this game. I feel like they could pretty much make them 1-to-1 now, whereas it wasn't quite possible on the original Quest.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think there's room for that as well, and would be welcome changes. It makes me wonder if you did like the enhancement, the 2048 mode, or whatever you end up doing, if how good it would do. I mean, obviously, I think a lot more particles and that type of stuff would probably be more what you're talking about, right? Which
Right.
they'd have to patch that in. So
Yeah, it looks crystal clear and sharp right now, and it's a great looking game. And Uh, it's one of those games that just feels good to play it. It's kind of got that thing like, to a lesser extent, of course, but kind of has that thing like Tetris Effect has, where the gameplay, the sound, the what you're looking at, everything just kind of melts together into the same multi-sensory experience, and you just kind of lose yourself in the game, and your ability to keep a rhythm is what allows you to fight these bosses and things that you encounter, which are, even in the quest, these big monolithic, intimidating, crazy looking creatures that you're flying straight towards at breakneck speed. um, Again, I feel like this is a classic VR game. I feel that it's completely addictive, and I'm kind of sad when I play this, Roots, because this title is from a bygone era in VR, and I don't know if we'll ever get games like this again in VR. It seems kind of like the uh, the industry's passed up stuff like this. That's just so simple in concept. Trying to make VR games a little more like flat games, when stuff like this, as simplistic as it is great.
Oh, maybe there'll be Thumper too. There's always room for the like even flat games. I see them all the time. I see games that I'm like, and they're side scrollers, and I'm like, wow, like Dead Cells or whatever it is. I'm like, that seems pretty simple. And then you get it and you start to play it, and you're like, man, this is fucking good. It's like, it's just simple, but it's good. And I agree. Sometimes simple is better, especially in something like this. So I would love to see a sequel to it, although I don't know that I've finished the game. It gets pretty damn hard, man. I don't know if even Mamefan, the finisher, has finished this. I'd be interested to hear from him in the comments if he's finished this or not.
No, I haven't finished it. I've made it through a few levels of it, and when I say levels, I don't mean like the stages. I mean like the larger levels. Each level has like 10 or 12 stages to it. I think I've made it into like level 3 somewhere, maybe level 4. Um, I don't know, but I just played through the entire first level all the way through the boss fight, and then I realized it was 5 minutes till time for the Monday show, and had to take
Oh,
my headset off in a mad dash.
that's funny. It's weird, and maybe other people have this thing too. Like, a lot of times I'll be like not wanting to play any VR until it's like 45 minutes before I got to leave for work. I'll just be sitting around for hours, and then 45 minutes before, I'm like, oh, I feel like playing some VR, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I run out of time because I wait too long. So I don't know. It's weird.
Yes, yeah, entirely.
That's really weird.
Anyway, I recommend this title no matter what platform you're on. I've played it on both Quests. I played it on PC. I played it on PlayStation VR. And much like Arizona Sunshine we talked about the other day, I feel like this is a classic VR game. I feel like everyone should have this in their library.
I agree. I think Arizona Sunshine needs to go on sale for $20. So I'll pick it up because I can't see myself paying $40 for another copy of that game. I just can't.
No, me either. That's me. Like, I'd love to have it on Quest, but not at that price, bro. And that's like the base version. That's not even with the DLC.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think for the rest of the unenhanced standalone segment, these are all you. So you take it away. Tell us what else you've been playing.
Okay, this one's easy, man. This is a Space Pirate Trainer, man. I saw actually a few people have been playing this. This is one of those games that talk about addictive. I just realized again, this is a game I had on my Quest. Didn't even know it. It was cross by, and you just get to so many levels. I forgot how good this game is and how much fun it is. And for a Quest game, it's simple, but it does what it does well. So
Yeah. This is I forget. Maybe it was. I think Drew or somebody told me the other day that I absolutely had to try this one out in the new headset, and it's another good example of in spite of there being no enhancement patch for it. Some games are just well suited to the hardware. In a game like this, with the high contrast art style, with lots of particle effects, uh, lots of they take advantage of the 3D aspects of VR, right? In a game like this, I absolutely could see that being the case.
Yeah, yeah. No, I ended up spending at least an hour in this game, and I haven't played this since I first got into VR. I bought it on the the Rift a long time ago, and it's just a another example of how cross buy can benefit, right? Because I would have never bought this again, I don't think. But now that I have it, I'm glad I do own it, right? So
Right, and it's another one like Thumper too that's just like cheap, like a classic VR game that's cheap and it's well suited for a standalone headset because this is the type of thing that you could put anybody in, whether they've played VR or not, and they could just pick it up and start playing. You don't have to explain to people what to do here, right?
no, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like so easy. It's a perfect game for to showcase guns to people, right? And it's kind of like an old school arcade game, and it just feels like it. And there's so many aspects to it, whether it's the guns, the shields, the just the different extra things that you level up your stuff, and a lot of things going on in this thing, man. As far I forgot, like even that radar, seeing where things are coming up and then trying to anticipate and hit them as they're coming before they get a chance to shoot you. It's not as easy as I remembered it being. But yeah, I know whoever it was that told you to revisit this was dead on because it looked so good in the headset. And like you said, it's not even enhanced. So how good will the enhanced version be? So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Drew that told me I needed to play this, and he just said in the chat just now that it already looks like it got an update for Quest 2.
oh wow, oh yeah, that's good. And Radio Runt's right. It's like Galaga in VR. It's like I feel like you got sucked into this video game. And like I always say, and that's one of the things I want when I was a kid, I just wanted to get in that game, and now we get to get in Galaga and just be a total badass. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the more I look at stuff like this, it just it hurts not to be able to buy everything, right? It's like you get this new hardware and you immediately want to put 200 games in your library on day one.
yeah, yeah, and then your wife says, "No, you're not doing it." In your case, and then you say, "Yeah, you're right. Let's not do it." But
The Drew says it wasn't him that told me. Now I got to go look it up. I feel like a fool.
yeah, well, I'll tell you what. There's so many people saying so many different things. My biggest thing is I just got to try not to throw people under the bus. There's a couple people are like, "Hey, dude, like you keep mentioning my name on this, and that's not what I said." And I'm like, "Hey, dude, my memory is all Colorado'd up. I forgot what you said." But no, this is definitely a recommend for me if you like shooting games. Simple but easy, and like you said, it's not that expensive either. I think it's like $10.
Yeah, it's always on sale too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
anyway, what next? What else did you play, brother?
Okay, this one was Audica. Obviously, I was gonna play some Audica. Had to try it. Had to try the free version because I did remember I had bought the Steam version. Ended up buying another version of Oculus so that I could have a native version of it, and it benefited me because now I've got a Quest version. And this was one of the first games that I played because I talked to Radio Runt. He said on their Discord they were recommending that with side quest you upscale the graphics to 2048, and there's a way to upgrade to 90 hertz. And so I did that, and this game, I kid you not, it felt like it was native. I mean, everything was perfect. It just, I mean, it looked so amazing, and even without the enhanced the kicking at 2048, it still looked really good. But it is one of those games that I will suggest. And Radio Runt nailed it right off the bat. He said, "Man, Audica, just something feels weird about it. I think it needs to be 90 hertz. I think 72, if you're used to 90, it just feels weird. And if you never played the game, you probably wouldn't notice it. But I am looking forward to the 90 hertz patch down the road for that reason, because a game like this has to be 90, So
Did you try turning the 90 on in side quest and playing it standalone?
I did, absolutely. Yep. I put it in increased the resolution, and I did 90 hertz. And it ran perfect. As a matter of fact, every single game, because I started with this game, I put it to 2048 or 2048 on the setting, and every game I played ran perfectly with that setting, even Saints and Sinners. So that quest is pretty damn powerful.
Yeah, man. That's the thing that I'm coming to realize. Polish Paul quoted the Boneworks developers the other day of saying that they think that it's able to run Boneworks on low PC settings. And if that gives you some idea, those of you out there, PC guys who haven't tried it yet, uh, they're saying that the amount of power in this thing is equivalent to kind of one of the lower to mid tier PC, VR capable PCs, which is a lot of power for a little, all in one headset like this. And then when you tack on the next level optics on top of it, I mean, it's really a remarkable device.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for the price. That's the thing too. The price point, it just blows me away every time I think about it. So
Yeah, that's the other part of the equation, right? Like, if you can play it stock out of the box, if you can deal with that, which again, here we are a week in, and as you can see, still got my floppy drop strap on there. So uh, if I can handle it, I got to imagine there's a lot of other people out there who can as well. $300. I've been going with the $300 experience for a week now, Roots, and that's what I've been raving about all this time.
yeah, see, I can't even say that. I've been raving about the almost $1,000. I was thinking about I could have got the index for almost what I've spent now. By at this point, I'm getting close. Maybe not that close, but it's all worth it. I mean, the wireless experience is not anything to sneeze about. Plus, the added hand tracking experience, which is what one of the games, the next game, or I guess the experience, touts as well.
Well, let's go ahead and get into that, Roots, because I didn't have any idea that you'd even tried the line. I suppose you must have picked this one up then off the Oculus store.
Yeah, and that just reminds me, I just made myself a liar just because I said I only picked up Virtual Desktop and Coaster Combat. I forgot I picked up this. I think it's like $5 or something. But I saw it and I was like, what is this? Right. And I thought, man, I found out it was hand tracking and everything else. And just that it was a really, people raved about it. And it's just a really cool story type of thing. And what's kind of cool about it, besides the hand tracking, if you go to the room scale, like this person's slowly taking their time to doing there, the way that the story's done is like you're moving from spot to spot. You're literally like walking around your room. It's leading you around this big area, and it's really cool. It's done differently in a way that I haven't seen an experience like this done before. And then the story's kind of cool, I mean, it's a little sappy or whatever, but I enjoyed it, and I think it's only $5, but it was really cool.
Yeah, it's like they have this table set out in front of you, and like there's like this model. It's almost like a model train set, only it's like that there's a whole little world that they've got, a neighborhood put together, and the little clockwork figurines come out, and they're like living, breathing beings. So, I mean, the story obviously gets told as you go along, but you're the one kind of pushing it along, right? Using your hands, interacting with the toys to make things happen as you go.
Yeah, because it's just like telling the story, and then like the characters will get to a certain point, and then it needs you to interact. And so the whole premise is that this whole thing is like loops. It's it's on a train thing. It always does the same thing every time until it doesn't. It's kind of like life, like there's, I don't know, it's got a lot more to it meaning wise. And like I said, I really enjoyed the story. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I think it's something that people should check out. It's only $5, I believe. I don't know. Is this only Quest only exclusive, or is this on Rift as well?
I'm not sure what the long term plan. I think it's on Oculus, or it may even be. It may have went to other platforms by now. I initially
Hmm.
tried this as a part of the festival in the Museum of Other Realities,
Hmm.
that Tribeca wing of the
Hmm.
festival. I forgot what the festival was called, but that's where I initially tried this at. And I know at first it was Oculus exclusive, but it was supposed to come to other platforms as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Just looked it up. It is on Rift as well. So it may be on Steam. I don't know, but it is $5. Definitely worth checking out if you like experiences like this. Obviously, if you only have the Rift S or the CV1, you're not going to get to do this. I think you'll be okay. It's still a good experience, but definitely worth checking out.
Radio Rent says it is on Viveport. That's
Oh my
right.
lord.
This is an Infinity title. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so Roots just wasted five. No, I don't think it's worth. It's Arvar. I'd like to support the developers anyway. So, definitely worth owning. I think on the Quest especially, and it's a really cool thing to showcase to people. You know, there's this big misconception, especially by older people that have nothing and want nothing to do with video games. They think it's all about games. They don't know there's cool experiences, artwork, stories like this. Um, like Wolves in the Walls or whatever. You know, this is like the artistic version. It's just really cool. I think it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I really enjoyed it. Again, from a top-notch developer, Arvora Interactive, the people who brought us Pixel Rip 1989 and 1995. For those of you who don't know, it won some big award. I don't even, maybe it was a Grammy or Emmy rather. Not a Grammy, obviously. I think they won an Emmy for this, Roots.
I wouldn't doubt it, because the story was pretty cool too. So
Yeah, yeah, it was a very good piece of storytelling, a nice interactive experience here, and certainly worth $5.
yeah, and Spry Guy said it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you can see it for free in Viveport. So Infinity, check it out.
Yeah, Bidey says, I love stories like this. Have any of you seen The Great Sea or Melita? I've tried The Great Sea. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm not familiar with Melita. Roots, are you familiar with Melita?
I have not. I'm not familiar with that at all. And I will tell you, this game is not cross-buy. I just checked on my thing, and it's not for free on Rift. What a bummer.
Yeah, they
Sad.
can't all be cross-buy, huh?
Yeah, that's right. And I don't even know that I need it to be cross-buy. So
They all should be. I think that everything on Oculus should be cross-buy. I think that Oculus should have been a little bit more forceful with the idea. I mean, I get it. Developers want to make money, but people aren't going to buy it twice. Sorry, but I mean, they're not. So, I mean, it's the reason why I don't have Moss on my Quest is because I'm not going to. It's the reason I don't have Arizona Sunshines because I'm not going to.
super hot.
So, I do have Super Hot.
I got excited about Super Hot today, Wes. I saw it was 50% off on Oculus Rift store, and I was like, oh shit, I was almost ready to buy it. And then I saw it wasn't cross-buy, and I was like, I already own it on Steam. I don't need another PC version. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, my kid asked for Super Hot and Beat Saber for Christmas, so kind of had to get those. But if it had been up to me, I wouldn't have.
yeah, see, that sucks, man, because those are two games that I feel like I need to buy as well, and it sucks. I don't want to do it.
It does suck. Don't do it, Roots.
Yeah.
You can just stream it through your virtual desktop.
Well, see, that's the thing. If I go to somebody else's house or somewhere else, then Super Hot's such a great game to showcase, right? As is Moss, but I don't necessarily need to play through Moss again. So Super Hot, I would. Super Hot, I'll probably will buy eventually, but Moss, probably not. So
Yeah, well, with Super Hot, it does kind of you gain the ability to do things in Super Hot that you weren't able to do before by moving around the environments. You know, Super Hot was always a stationary game. Now you can move around in it,
yep,
so it makes a difference.
yeah, and that's what I found out about Robo Recall. My lord, does that make a difference? It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to some games here that have uh, enhancement for Oculus Quest 2. And we've only got three of them, but I got to say, Roots, in all three cases, very noticeably not able to be run on Quest 1. I mean, these are some pretty big enhancements. I would say two out of three of these games are on PlayStation VR, and I would say in both of those cases, I would probably choose the Quest 2 version over the PlayStation VR version.
Yeah, I would have to agree because actually I thought all three of the games looked and played phenomenally. So
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just start with the big fish in the pond and talk a little bit about The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. This, of course, was an Oculus Quest 2 launch title, crossbuy enabled. So if you own this already on Oculus Rift, this should be free for you to pick up on your Oculus Quest. And I got to say, Roots, from a looks perspective, just the way everything looks, you kind of have to look for the differences between this and the PC version, don't you?
yeah, no, I could barely even tell the difference at all, and you just blew me away. I didn't know that I've got a free copy of this waiting on my Oculus Rift because I own a Steam copy, but I'd rather play it natively, you know. So that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Now there are differences, and we're going to get to those in a moment. But I'm speaking purely from a visual standpoint. Very, very clean here. Of course, when I say clean, I mean resolute. Even though they use a different kind of textures on Quest titles, the extra processing power of the Quest 2 allows them to give those textures a lot more detail than they would have otherwise. And again on the new screen, it makes it look 10 times better than it did before. Uh, just in general, not this game specifically, but in general, the games on the Quest 2 look a lot better. Uh, the lighting, I could tell is a lot better than anything I've seen on the original Quest. And when you pick up metallic objects, things that are able to reflect light, again, it makes you feel like you're playing a PC game. It looks so good.
Yeah, no, it looked really good and played very well. One thing that I did find out about this game that I didn't really know so much about it, is that because I haven't watched too many people play it, but I took it over to my daughter's house and I watched her play it and I watched her boyfriend play it, and they sucked, Wes, man. Like watching them try to stab zombies, I was like, I wanted to reach out and to just grab just stab it, like they're trying to. I mean it. And Jim Hall said his nephew said the same thing. Man, this is hard. So I think people that aren't used to VR, they're just not used to doing it or something, because it's not hard to just jab a knife into a zombie's head, man. It's pretty much second nature. It should be, right? I don't know.
Well, if I were able to talk to these people and give them any kind of advice, I would advise them to use their offhand to grab the zombie's head first,
That's what I do.
because it allows you to stabilize the zombie, and then it's easier to drive the weapon through the skull. Also, I would give them the advice not to make the fastest movements in the world. You don't have to move fast. They just want you to swing with a wide range of motion. So, I mean, it can be slow motion almost, but you want to kind of start back here and use the whole motion so that the camera can pick up on what you're doing and let it register through to the game.
Yeah. So I just, and this is one of the things you said, they just added all the enhanced stuff. And this is one of the games that like I said, I used the side quest super sampling, and I put it to 2048, which is what they recommend for Audica. And it ran perfect, man. I put it in the 90 hertz mode. I cranked up the super sample on this game, and it ran just as good as it did out of the box. So, like I said, it showed me how much power that quest has, because this game has got so much going on. The physics alone, it's just crazy.
Now I tried that as well. I tried running it in 2048 with 90 hertz enabled, and I got some slight reprojection when I did that.
Hmm.
It wasn't super noticeable, but it was there. And I thought, if I'm seeing this now, who knows what I'll see, 15 minutes from now. So at that point, I just went ahead and turned it off. Now I don't know if it would have. I probably could have just switched it out of 90 hertz and back into 72, and that probably would have cleared it up. But I restarted the whole thing and
Hmm.
went in it natively, and it looked beautiful anyway. Like I didn't miss miss having it in the higher settings mode. It looked great, stock out of the box.
It makes me wonder what the difference is, but I guess that the developer Guy from Virtual Desktop was saying about the boost clock thing for that particular way. He was saying not every headset is would need it, kind of implying to me that I mean, just like anything else, any other hardware, video card or whatever, you just have some that are um, I guess sealed a little bit better with the cooling stuff, or I don't know. I don't know how all that shit works, but I know that some run a little bit smoother or better than others, and I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit difference. I don't know.
The silicone lottery, right? I guess that's a good point. I guess I should probably put both of these machines through the paces before I take it back, right?
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a good idea, man. One more thing to do. It's a fun thing to
Yeah,
do.
that's just what I need, right? One more thing to do.
Yeah, you got nothing else to do.
So what about the differences here? Well, I said that I would prefer this over the PlayStation VR version, and I absolutely mean that. They nailed the gameplay here. Again, it's very tough to distinguish this version from the PC version. It looks so good. It plays pretty much identically. But there are some differences. As you play through it, you'll notice. Um, Mainly, the main things I noticed was in scavenging and searching through houses. It seemed a lot less populated. Like there were less items, maybe not in number so much, but like it seems like there was some less variety to what I could find. I never saw like the first clock in the Blue Mansion. The Blue Mansion normally has a full of clocks. Didn't see any of the clocks in there. It seemed like a lot of the cabinets and things that normally you would have to open up and search through, the doors were just missing off of them altogether. So like you could just see whether or not there was stuff in there. And yeah, I'd say there were probably a few less items than there normally would be.
Hmm.
I'm not sure, but I'm thinking some of the rooms that I previously would have been able to go into were now blocked off, and there was less furniture in some of these rooms. Like there was a used to be a lot more stuff that you could interact with in these houses, but now it's a little bit more bare bones.
Hmm.
Um, Now, with that said, I mean, this is all kind of nitpicky stuff. I didn't feel like it affected the game at all. I felt like I was still very much playing the same game. Only now, instead of having a backpack full of different items to take back and scrap, I would have like, 5 cigarette lighters in there or something, a lot more of like the same thing than I would have before. One of the things that really surprised me is that I didn't really feel like there was a lot less walkers. There were less for sure, but I felt like maybe just a few less. The houses, the streets, still very populated as compared to before. So as close as the PlayStation VR version was to the PC version, I feel like in other ways, the Quest 2 version is even more like the PC version, even though those assets are one to one across PC to PlayStation. I feel like visually and just the way that it feels to play with the move controllers, uh, I feel like it's more like it feels more like the PC experience, even though the PlayStation version technically from an assets standpoint is closer uh, in that way.
It's funny that you said you feel like you're nitpicking, but I remember somebody specifically asking us to nitpick, because we're always
Oh, that
braving
that
about
is
it.
true. That is true.
Yeah, so we're
I've got to find things to complain about, right?
yeah, exactly. So we're looking for things to complain about, but it's funny that you say that about the drawers and stuff because when I was going in, I was thinking, I like, I was going crazy. I was like, am I? Because I at some point in the beginning, I thought that the drawers just didn't exist anymore because they were gone, and then I started running into some, but they were definitely not all there, and I didn't notice. I found clocks and stuff. I had no problem, but I didn't even
Oh,
really put two and two together. There was a point where I had found like seven things of wood or something ridiculous, and I was like, fuck, man, I've never found this much wood. But I never really thought anything of it. But it's funny that you say that, but I did. I found a few clocks in that house, so it might have just been random.
well, what
Um,
it might be is the whole menu's still there for the game, right? But as you load into the level, you can only bring in so many different things.
hmm,
So for you, maybe it got the clock and left something else out.
hmm,
But for me, it got something else and left the clock out. For example, maybe that's how it works. But I felt like I kept getting a lot of the same items, and again, I felt like the indoor environments were a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit more bare bones than on the PC and PlayStation versions.
yeah, I found out that lady in the first quest that you've run across, she still shies back if you try to stroke her face and tell
I
her
found that
everything's
out
okay.
too.
Yeah, she doesn't like you touching her for some reason,
she,
Wes. Like,
said- she she said, "Get out of my space" or something like that.
yeah,
You're
she's
in my
not.
space.
Yeah, so there's, I guess it makes sense. I mean, in that type of atmosphere, you probably, any weird guy walking up to you, you're just feeling like they're all sorts of weird vibes. So,
Oh, another thing. I guess since we're looking for things to complain about, um, the axe. I would try to fight with the fire axe, and it felt like I was fighting with a baseball bat because I could not get that thing to bury in the thing's head. It
mm,
seemed like I would have to like hit it 5 or 6 times before it would actually go through the skull and kill it. Every other time, it would just knock it back. And I don't know if I was swinging at it wrong, but I didn't have this problem before on the other version. So I don't know if the physics are different, or maybe it's with
mm.
the different tracking. Maybe caught it a little bit weird, but I found that frustrating because I got myself in a hairy situation trying to take on a bunch of them with an axe and not able to kill any of them. I had to draw another weapon after a while.
Yeah, that's what did my daughter's boyfriend in, was trying to kill him with an axe. I didn't try the axe. I knew better. I don't mess around with those two-handed weapons. I need something a little bit quick. I want to stab him and run. But
Well,
no, this
I like Lucille. Like I love killing zombies with Lucille. It's pretty awesome.
I haven't unlocked much. I need to get further in this game on the standalone, because I think I made it to day 3 or day 4, and then I had to jump into another game to talk about. That was the thing. That's what I told you. It's like, okay, I have a whole list of games I actually want to play, but this last week was go in and check it out and see how it runs. How does it run wirelessly? And just putting everything through the paces, which is fun to do. But now I want to play some games, Wes. I want to get some progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely feel you there because this is probably the title that I spent the most time in. I went back to it more than I had to for evaluation goes. I went back into it again just for fun because I love it. But I don't know. I'd say this is probably the best Quest game, right? Am I wrong here?
No, no, it's the only game that exists on the Quest that I know of that has real physics in it, right? And that's why
No,
Boneworks.
exactly. It's the same thing with PlayStation VR. It's the only one that has that next gen physics going on.
Yeah, so I mean, not only is it the an IP that everybody loves and has watched and wants to get into, it's also got the best gameplay, and it's definitely the most
Here's
advanced.
another another good example that we're looking at on the screen here. Or I guess I'm looking at the 10 minutes ago or 10 seconds ago. Never mind. But we're past the moment now live. I keep forgetting that there's latency here. And I'm looking at what they're seeing now, and it's already happened here. So
What was it? The bow and arrow?
yeah, it was right at the bow and arrow part. This was one of the examples I was going to give of the kind of differences that you see in this version with less items, right? Because right above the bow and arrow target, normally there's bottles and stuff there that you can scavenge, but not in the Quest version. They just have candles up there, which is just kind of a non-interactive scenery type thing.
Fuck, man, your attention to detail scares me because I don't know if it's you paying attention or me not paying attention. I don't know, because I know I never noticed any bottles up there, bro. Like, that's crazy. You got a good memory, bro.
I've played through this first part of this game a bunch of times, and now with that said, uh, I've always kind of played the story the same way with it, with the exception of the one Evil Weasel time that I totally jacked up on Ray. But I think I'm going to take it a little bit of a different direction this time, and I'm going to make a video of it, another Evil Weasel video. We're going to do something evil to one of the characters that we encounter in the first few chapters of the
Oh,
game. So
wow.
stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's something liberating about just killing everybody. I mean, from my experience, they gave you some good stuff, man. Like, what a great way to get ahead. You kill this chick right off the bat. She'll give you this box of supplies, and it's like, wow, this is a lot of good stuff, lady. I mean, I feel bad that I had to kill her for it, but you know.
I killed her after well, I mean, I did it pretty much when I played through it this time. I did the same thing I did on the Evil Weasel playthrough, where I did the task for her, and I went and I took care of her husband. I brought her the ring back, but I made sure before I killed her that I gave her the emotional pain of knowing that her husband had killed her children. So, like, I told her that, then I proved it to her with the letter, and then when she told me to fuck off, I shot her in the face
Yeah,
and
well,
took the ring back.
yeah. And you took the ring back. Well,
Yeah, I took
I
the
mean,
ring back.
did you get some, can you scrap the ring? Do you get some good stuff for it? That'd be cool.
Nah, when you get back to the resting place, the ring's not in your backpack anymore. So I don't know
Uh,
what the deal is with that.
I want to wear that ring. Maybe you're wearing it and you don't even know. One thing that I did, is this the one, I think this game gives you a chance for inverse kinematics or just the hands, or maybe I'm thinking of, no, I think that was one of the other games we're going to be talking about that's enhanced. So we'll get to that in a minute. But no, this thing blew me away just like it did on every other platform. And it was one of the first things that my family wanted to try. Even my nephew, who's like 11, and he got into the headset because I knew this was going to happen. He doesn't like dark things. And he's like, oh, I thought this wouldn't be scary. Like, he didn't even get past the menu. And I was like, oh, yeah, I told you, He was ready to go in. And then about 10 seconds in, he's like, I can't, no. So.
Yeah, no, this is great. Again, I prefer playing it this way over the PlayStation VR, just based on the look and feel of it alone. It's nice to be untethered. The tracking is perfect, versus the Move controllers and things. So the advantages that PlayStation has over the Quest version are outnumbered by the advantages that the Quest version has over the PlayStation version. I would call this a top 5 PlayStation game. I would call it a top 5 VR game overall. It's the best Quest game, and it might be one of only a game or two that I can think of that I've played standalone on Quest that feels like I'm playing a PC game. Like the differences between this and the PC version are minute, and it's certainly on par with the PC version.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
anyway, kudos. I hope that was enough negative stuff for you there, Tiffany. If not, we can revisit it again later.
Yeah, And we'll find some more things to nitpick. That's the thing that you can nitpick anything if you really look for stuff, but it was hard for this one.
It's hard for an enthusiast to be negative about things that we love, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, great job. I'll definitely be spending more time in it. Definitely going to do another Evil Weasel video because I have somebody else earmarked for murder, and we're going to see how that changes the story. I got to imagine it's going to change it pretty significantly.
Yeah, I think so. I'm excited. It's like to hear about it.
Anyway, the next Quest 2 enhanced title that we're going to talk about is another one that I would say uh, at this point, I would recommend it over the PlayStation VR version, and that's Apex Construct, which originally launched as a PlayStation VR exclusive. Um, I mean, all in all, as far as what you're doing in the game and the way it plays, it's not all that much different. The differences are mostly cosmetic. The game just looks a lot better. It's a lot cleaner visually. Um, the biggest strike against the Quest 1 version of Apex Construct was the aggressive foveated rendering, which takes on an even uh, greater effect on the game because of the shape of it. Most foveated rendering on PC and PlayStation has a round shape, so it kind of fades naturally into your field of view. But on Quest 1, the foveated rendering takes a square shape, so it sticks out like a sore thumb, and it was pretty much maxed out on Apex Construct Quest 1 version. And now, Roots, it's totally gone. But not only is it totally gone, but so is any kind of aliasing or shimmer, and we have more particle effects as well. So some pretty heavy cosmetic enhancements on this game versus the previous version of it, and again, very very close to the PC version here.
Yeah, no, I actually went quite a ways playing through this again. I stopped some time ago for PC for some reason. I don't even remember why. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to see how it looked on the Quest 1. And for some reason, some people didn't even really see that there was any difference. But I mean, if I went into it, I could go in and say, I could try to nitpick and say it doesn't look this or that, but I never saw the foveated rendering. And so seeing that, it should be obvious, right? It'd be like, oh my God, this just looks so much better. But I agree. It looked just like what I remember in the PC version. Um, and didn't felt the same. The bow and arrow again felt amazing, and it's just it's actually a really cool story. I forgot kind of how cool this story is.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of a interesting post-apocalyptic story going on here with some common tropes and themes that we've seen in this type of in this type of world. So definitely good storytelling here. Beautiful world. Like when you first look out over that cliff over the horizon and you see the old bent earth kind of all in disarray. It's actually quite beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and everything about it, and just I mean, obviously this video is using that friggin' what is it called? The halo that comes around you. I can't stand that, man. That would drive me crazy to see that on a normal basis. But I guess
Talking
it's
about the vignette there.
yeah, I guess it's necessary for all the people that get sick. But for people that don't get sick, it's annoying as hell when it's on. You're like, oh shit, I gotta turn this off. But no, I thought it was really good. Everything was clear, and the gameplay was really good. And like you said, it's very hard to tell the difference between the original and the Quest version, from what I could see.
Yeah, yeah. The PC version and the Quest 2 version do have some differences. They're very minute. Um, Actually, kind of similar to the Saints and Sinners in a way. So, like, the differences are in the type of textures that they use. It's fundamentally a different type of thing. Only the Quest 2 is able to do it with a lot more detail than the Quest 1 version is. The Quest 1 stuff all kind of looks like it has a low res wallpaper over it if you get up close to it and look at it. It's all flat. There's no depth to it. And the Quest 2 versions of games, they have the same thing, but they have a lot more detail in it. Therefore, the illusion that they're able to create is a lot more effective. So the type of things you'll notice differences in Apex Construct are things like foliage. It'll look like
A flat tree.
almost like almost like a construction paper leaves on it. You know what I'm saying? And Saints and Sinners does some of the same stuff. I don't know if you noticed, but the uh, the the NPCs are a little bit more cartoony. The hair, in particular, is kind of the same thing I'm talking about with the foliage here. Kind of looks like, I don't know, modeling clay or construction paper. Andre's beard, for example, looked really weird to me. It looked like he almost like he was wearing a fake beard.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. It's because of this different type of textures that they have to use on the mobile hardware. So uh,
Did it
for the
make
most part, it's something that you don't notice unless you're looking for it.
did make you want to stab Henri in the face a little bit more because of his beard? Say, fuck you, you know.
I tried to, man. I tried to hit him with that fire axe, but just like with the walkers, it just pushed him away. It didn't bury into his face like it was supposed to.
Ah, what a bummer, man. Like when you're expecting Henri's head to split in half, it should split in half.
I
You know?
agree with that. We tried to give him a vertical mouth, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, who doesn't love a vertical mouth, right?
Anyway, Apex Construct, I would say again, like the Saints and Sinners before it, pretty close to the PC version. Just minor differences that you pretty much have to look for. Another great example through the archery play in this game of how good the tracking is. Right, never a problem with it.
Yeah, never. That's the thing, man. I still can't. I don't understand how they did the tracking so good with 4 cameras because I was expecting it to be worse than the Rift S, and it's so much better. So
Now the cameras are angled better on the Quest, the Quest 2, the way that they have them on it, kind of on the edges, widens the field of view a little bit.
yeah, true, very true.
Anyway, one more title that I actually tried this one out as well. You put it on the list, I think, but I actually went into it for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or so just to get a look at it because originally there was a pretty substantial difference between Phantom Covert Ops on Quest versus Phantom Covert Ops on PC. And there's still a gap there, but I got to say, Roots, that gap has been closed significantly at this point.
You know what? I blew my mind away, Wes, and I was not expecting this. I went into the game and I it said load or continue or start a new game. I said, load it or continue, and I was in my game from the PC version and I was like, "Oh shit, these are linked." I didn't like I guess I don't know why it just blows me away that my accounts are linked, but I was like right back where I was at in the same place and I died to the same guy the same way and it was cool, man. It was like I don't know. It was just cool. I really enjoyed. It reminded me about this game. It's been a while since I've been in it, and I didn't do too well. I was not stealth enough, and they found me and they shot me pretty quick. Wes, it was very detrimental.
Let's see. Unlike you, I did start a new game, but you're right. One of the cloud saves are one of the big features of this game.
So. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I like it.
Stephen Duncan says he's upgrading from OG Vive to Quest 2 this week. How much of a jump in quality should I expect? Now, I've never used an OG Vive, but I've watched enough video and talked to enough people that I pretty much know what to expect here. Now, OG Vive, probably one of the worst offenders when it comes to screen door effect or the area, this being able to see the space in between the pixels. Quest 2, probably the least biggest offender in this space. So what you're going to be giving up is a little bit of comfort. You're going to give up a little bit of comfort, but what you're going to be gaining is truly next generation visuals. It's going to be a big upgrade and it's going to blow you away.
Yeah, dude, the Rift S blew me away from CV1. And coming from, if I was to go from the CV1 to this, that would just be like, oh, what is happening? That's crazy.
Yeah, the difference is like going from a 720p monitor to a 4K monitor. It literally is that vast of a difference between the Gen 1 VR headsets versus, I mean, what would you call this? A Gen 3 VR
Yeah,
headset? Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what to consider. It's definitely not Gen 1 for sure. It's not even 1.5. Like we said, a lot of these other ones were. It's in a class of its own. It's the only headset that I know that it can go wireless without an adapter. That, you know what I mean? Yeah, you got to buy a software, but that's it. Well, I did have to buy a better router. Didn't have to, but I chose to.
Still, though, I mean, what you've got in the virtual desktop and the router put together is what, a little over half of what you would spend on the Vive wireless adapter.
Yep. Yeah, or the crappy TP cast, which was the only way you could get into wireless with Oculus up until now. So
Right, and it works pretty good, right? We're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But I mean, you don't feel like it's lacking enough to where you would want to go buy one of those things now, right? If you had the opportunity.
yeah, yeah, and that was the thing. I used to think about TP cast all the time, and there was so much jank to it, whether it was losing FOV or weird lines and having to take it apart and change this and then force a firmware. I mean, it was a lot of shit, right? Nah, too much for me anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, with Phantom Covert Ops, when it came to the original Quest version versus the PC version, there were two main complaints from people looking at the game and comparing. Uh, the complaints were one that there weren't as many assets in the Quest version. Things were missing, like chain link, like sections that were normally cordoned off with chain link fence were just open now. The stuff floating on the water to give it a more realistic look, all that stuff was either a lot worse looking or just gone altogether. The other big complaint was the lighting. The lighting effects on the Quest 1 were a lot more generic looking. They were a lot less effective. All in all, I felt like that gameplay wise, the game played very similar on Quest 1, but it looked a lot different. I had a similar feel, but it was less immersive based on visuals. On Quest 2, they have closed that gap significantly. And unlike the last two games we've talked about it's not quite on par with the PC version even now, but it's a lot closer. And most of the gap that's been made up is due to vastly improved lighting on the Quest version. The lighting, uh, Quest 2 versus Quest 1, is night and day. And anybody who's spent any time in VR knows how far that lighting can go uh, toward providing a sense of realism inside the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I just realized, all three of these titles we're talking about here are all cross-buy as well, which is really
That's
good,
true.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, it makes the value proposition just off the charts because, I mean, Apex Construct is questionable as a must-own game, but the other two I would consider must-own games for sure for Oculus Quest.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I guess we didn't do was thank Skydance for our copy of Saints and Sinners, which was cool because I didn't have
Yeah,
to.
it's hard to keep up with it all, isn't it?
Yeah, dude.
Uh, I would have to thank Skydance for our copy of Saints and Sinners. I would have to thank Fast Travel Games for our copy of Apex Construct, and I would have to thank In Dreams for our copy of Phantom Covert Ops. All of these were
Mm.
PC review keys that have transferred over to cross-buy titles, except for Apex or Walking Dead, which was actually we got that key just this past week. So thanks again to Skydance Interactive for that one.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
But anyway, would you agree, Roots? Phantom Covert Ops must own
Yeah,
game for Quest.
yeah, it's definitely it's a unique game that I don't think there's any game like this. So
Yeah,
it's,
people say it's like Metal Gear Solid in a kayak. I got to concur.
yeah, and I know Mamefan played it from beginning to end in one sitting, right? That's got to tell you something. So
Yeah, yeah, and it's got a lot of replayability too with the new game modes and the leaderboard based stuff that they've added in. So
yep,
uh, definitely worth trying out.
absolutely.
Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to move away from standalone games now and get into the PC section of our talk. And we're going to start off by talking about the supported solution, Oculus Link. So, for those of you who don't know, Oculus Link is it allows your standalone headset to become a PC headset by connecting a USB C to USB 3.0 cable into your PC. This is supported by Oculus. It wasn't at launch with the Quest 1, but is a feature that they picked up over time and has carried over to Oculus Quest 2. So, Roots, why don't you start off by telling us about the first game that you tried on your Oculus Link here?
Let's see. Well, the first game I tried to play on my Oculus Link was did you play it? I'm assuming you did as well. It was on the list. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, actually, I did play. That was one of the. I'm trying to remember if I played it with Link or yeah, I played that one with Link. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
because
right.
I was able to get into it. I didn't play too much of it, but I mean, I couldn't get it to come up the other way. But this game is one of the ones that actually benefits from the link, right? That's the extra super sampling, being able to really crank it up. And this is one of the games that I was kind of bummed that I couldn't get it to work wireless. I'll keep working on it because I want to stream it. I want to stream this game and play it from beginning to end, but I want to do it wirelessly. But I will concede that there's going to be games that I'm just not going to be able to. I'm finding that out, Wes. Yesterday I was like, fuck this, wireless all the time, and now I'm like, oh shit, this game didn't work and that game didn't work, and it could be something I need to tweak, but we'll see. But yeah, this is definitely a must-play game, and it's one of the games that I'm just surprised I haven't finished it. I don't even remember what stopped me, but I think it was a puzzle being weird or something. So.
Yeah, you were in the Valravn levels with all of the perspective-based puzzles, which, judging from the things you said about Shadowpoint yesterday, I got to imagine you're not the biggest fan of perspective-based puzzles.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, I guess I can look at it from a different perspective, like really small or really big is what I heard. You can kind of change. It makes it easier to see those, right? So
Yeah, well, when you put it in tabletop mode, it makes it easier for you to see the big picture, which sometimes can help you get the right vantage point for these puzzles.
yeah. So did you get a chance to get in? I guess you said you played it on Link. What did you think about it?
I thought it was phenomenal. It's one of my favorite games. I knew I was going to love it. I just wanted to check it out under the new screen, right? Because it's such a beautiful game as it is. Um, but the thing that really ended up sticking out to me was how good the audio was without headphones. Like this game probably has the best audio design I've ever played in a VR game. Not only with the directional audio, but with the voice acting, plus the voices in your head. Of course, you play an insane person, a schizophrenic, and they did a very effective job of portraying to the player what that must be like. And it's even more effective when you're not wearing headphones and the voices in your head are actually voices in your head instead of voices coming from the things that are touching your ears. So, yeah, I was, as I always have been by this game, blown away by it. And I can't wait to check it out again when my next headset gets here in a few weeks' time.
Well, what's funny is just that blows me away with the sound because it's one of those things that I know is big on your list, as far as like you even said with this game, like the sound is key, right? And for you to be able to go into it and play it and say, man, this sounds good, is a testament to how good the audio is compared to how it was before, right? Like I the Quest 1, the Rift S was good, but it's definitely louder and it's definitely better than it used to be. So
Yeah, yeah. I don't think there's any question. Either that or I just won the lottery with this headset, and maybe the other one in the box over there is not going to be as good. Um, because I mean that happened to you, right? You said that your initial Rift S was, I mean, it was good enough. Like you used it a lot without headphones, but then when you got your replacement unit, your second Rift S, the sound wasn't as good.
yeah, it didn't seem like it
So
was as loud. So yeah, it's very possible. Absolutely.
it could be one of these situations where I just kind of won the lottery with this one, and it's not uniform across all units. But we're gonna find out soon.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as you bust open that other one and start checking it out, right? Putting it through the paces.
The thing that really surprises me not only is how loud it is, but the low end. It has some pretty serious bass to it, doesn't it? And you can really feel it. Like when I played Thumper earlier, it sounded phenomenal.
Well, I told you yesterday, I can feel it a little bit sometimes when the bass is going right here on my temple and it feels like sweat or something, and it's not. I've taken the headset off and checked, and I'm like, wow. And you can just feel it's you can just feel it. Oh.
Feel it. You know who else likes to feel it? Roots.
My mom!
Hey, who doesn't? Chris Richardson says there's a spreadsheet that shows compatibility for VR games in virtual desktop, which is actually very good because I was under the impression that every single game would work, and I found out that I was wrong, Wes.
Well, that happens a lot when you've been around as long as you and I have, friend. We find out a lot of times that we are wrong. In fact.
Yep.
Uh, So yeah, there you go. This is how you learn. This is how you become right next time, right?
Yeah, and then we'll tell you we're sorry. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one of those we're sorry moments the other day in the comments. I forget what it was over, but we'll get to that. 2020 show's coming up
Yeah,
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to get to work on it, man. It's almost time to really start buckling down and doing the work that comes with putting together a 4-hour end of the year VR show.
Yeah, I can't wait. That was so much fun last year.
Yeah, we did. Did we do it live last year? I think we did it pre-recorded last year. This will be.
Yeah, it's pre-recorded.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Trying to do that live.
We might need a little buffer, like a 5-minute break or something to use the restroom.
Well, we can film some segments pre-recorded, and then like just kind of pepper them in there so that we can get a break, have an intermission.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some. We'll talk to some people. I'd like to, have a segment with Anthony ranting about something. That'd be cool.
Oh, I'm sure he loves his Quest 2. He'd probably rant about that
yeah,
for the next 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not the magical headset that he wanted it to be, even though it pretty much has everything that he asked for the original Quest to have in it. It's not good enough.
It's never. That's the enthusiast. It's never good enough, which I guess is just the way it is, right?
Yep. Anyway, so where are we at here? We are talking about Oculus Link. We're talking about Hellblade. Yeah, man, blown away as always. This is one of my favorite games, and the experience inside the Oculus Link, Oculus Quest 2, was everything that I thought it was going to be. It was beautiful visually, and surprisingly good from an audio perspective.
Wow. Cool. Well, I can't wait to play through it all the way.
All right. And that's going to move us on to what might have been the first game that I played in it through Oculus Link, which was Kobold Chapter 1. This is a game that was provided to me by Frank, the member of our community here. He gave me this probably a month ago, maybe 6 weeks. And I've been in the mood for some VR horror roots, and because 'tis the season, it's October, right? So this is the first thing I went to, and a couple of things I noticed right off the bat. One, surprisingly good looking visually, right? Like this is a good looking game.
Yeah, actually, I thought it was kind of cool. Even the beginning was cool. It was intriguing to me, like the way that they did the computer
Yeah.
and that like I hit the computer, I hit the space bar, and like it starts doing shit, and I'm like, oh, and then I went over to the other thing, and I started the recording of the warning or whatever, and I was like, wow, what is going on? I mean, it really it started to grip me within the first minute or two of like, what is going on in this house, right? And that thing's like saying, dude, like I shouldn't have came here. I'm warning you, don't come in this house, right? And what's the next thing I get to do, Wes? I go in the house. Like the fucking dude told me, don't do it. And then Roots goes and does it. And he pretty much deserves what he gets, in my opinion. So
Yeah, man. I felt that was really cool that they put a lot of the story in the menu, in the menu screen. The menu screen is a room. It's like a menu room, and literally your options and everything are in there. But the way that this game tells the story is through examination of items. So like you can read things, you watch things, you listen to things, and that's how the story is told. And that's pretty much the whole gist of this game is letting it tell you this very disturbing story. So I found it cool that I don't know, probably close to 15 or 20% of the story was right there in the menu. Um, but after I got going, I noticed the first negative thing I had to that I came to realize about it, and that is it's very resource hungry and poorly optimized. It played okay, barely, with just the Oculus Link and on decently high settings. But I tried to record this and make a video because again, it's a Halloween. It's the Halloween time of year. People like watching these kind of videos, and I couldn't do it. The game
mm,
was unplayable under that kind of load on my vanilla 1080 that I'm running, by the way. But after I stopped recording, I restarted my computer, booted back into the game, and it ran fine without OBS. So that was a good thing. I was able to play through it.
yeah, this is one of the games that I was telling you about that wasn't optimized very well for me as well. And you can tell it's one of those things with the Link or with virtual desktop. It matters. Matters a little bit more than say with the Rift S or other headsets. And as we get further into the Link, because it's still in beta, right? They say they're going to be releasing it out of beta, I think, in the next month or two, or maybe I'm remembering that incorrectly. But
I'm not familiar with that. It could be true. I didn't hear it.
yeah, I thought that's what I heard. But either way, it's so they're still working on it. They expect improvements, and I would expect over time, everything's going to you're going to be able to play certain things that you can't. And they'll look better as well. And it's just like everything else Oculus does. It's one of the things they do well is they optimize. They fine tune the tracking. Oculus Quest 1 and Rift S, when it came out, tracking was not as good as it is now. Through several releases, it became better. And that's pretty much everything. So I would
How
imagine
far
this
did
will
you
be as well.
play into this game?
Not too much further than getting out of this room. I got caught up in that fucking remote control trying to change the settings, dude. I just wanted to change from snap turn to smooth turn. I couldn't get the settings I don't understand how that remote works.
I couldn't get it to. It took me a good long while before I actually was able to do anything with that.
Yeah, so I spent a good 10 minutes trying to mess with the settings, and I watched the video. I listened to the girlfriend's phone call. Enough happened to where I was really intrigued on what was happening, but the performance optimization was so weird, and then I couldn't get that menu to work, and then I thought, oh shit, I got to get to another game.
So yeah, I would recommend going back into it if you're into that style of examination-based storytelling. It is a creepy, a very creepy story about a child who goes missing. His mother is practicing some occult style stuff,
Mm.
and she uh, involves some entities
Mm.
into their life, and all sorts of bad things ensue. I don't want to spoil the story for anyone, but it's there for those of you who are perceptive enough to find it. If you're one of these people who are the A to B type player who's just make it to the end, you probably won't get much of that because you could probably run through this thing pretty quickly, and you'll miss everything that you're supposed to be, picking up from it, and it'll seem like a cheap haunted house to those people. But for the eagle-eyed among you who enjoy this sort of thing, there's actually a pretty detailed story being told, and I very much enjoyed it.
Ah, well, cool. I'm gonna have to go back into it, and I would just submit that messing around with those dark things are just not a good idea, Wes, in the games or real world. But yeah, as I said, it's something I want to go back into for sure. It definitely is creepy as hell, and I don't know, it's gripped me, it's intrigued me. Somebody asked, "Is this free on Viveport Infinity?" Do you
I
know? I
think
don't.
it might be. I think it
Okay.
might. I'm not 100% on that, but I can be in a moment's time.
Yeah, and Skiva says beginning of 2021 is when link beta is set to end. So we're a few months away, and which is good. And
I thought you were asking me if Cobalt was in beta. Not
oh
not
no,
Link.
no, the link. No, and Scion VR actually says you got to launch OBS after you launch Steam VR, or you take a significant FPS hit.
Well, maybe that's what I did then. I'm not sure which way I did it, but I didn't pay any mind to anything like that.
I'm gonna start paying mind, Scion. You just saved me a couple of FPS, man. So I'm happy.
So you says you gotta launch Steam VR first. Is that what he said?
It says you got to launch Steam VR. After it's launched OBS after Steam VR.
Okay. Well, we will be sure to do that next time. Anytime we record and try
Yeah.
to capture Steam VR.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I've got 5-port pulled up here. I'm just gonna check it out really quick. And yes, indeed, Kobold Chapter 1 is free if you are a Infinity subscriber.
Oh, nice. So if you want to watch some creepy ass story, here it is. Go in there and
There
get
you go.
creeped out for
I do.
falling.
There's a lot, and I didn't get to go over it yesterday because we didn't do the free stuff and killer deals. But Viveport is rocking the horror titles this month, dude. Like, there's a ton of them on their page, and let me really quickly bring it up here, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to blow you away. Come on now. I'm not getting any help out of the app here. It's
Taking its time.
not doing anything. It's just not doing anything. Anyway, I remember Layers of Fear on there.
Kobold, obviously.
Yeah, obviously Kobold was on there. Let me bring it up. I mean, there was like 5 or 6 titles here. I'll close it. I'm going to reopen it.
How about Dread Halls? Is that on there?
Absolutely. Dread Halls was on there. I mean, that's enough, just those.
Yeah.
But there was more.
Oh yeah, look at that screwdriver. I did get in this door here, Wes. I do remember the screwdriver.
Screwdriver. Yeah, man, it's a pretty classic trope. The old haunted house with poltergeist activity going on, but it works,
Yeah.
and they did a good job of it here.
Absolutely.
All right, Infinity, hurry thine ass up.
Another thing, Scion, I don't know if you know this as well, something that most people don't know. If you need to start your OBS in administrator mode, it significantly reduces your draw on your CPU. I believe it's a CPU. So
All right, so when I pulled up the recent updated titles in Viveport Infinity, I see Neverosa Primal Ritual, which was that one with the giant spiders we played that time. There's a game called Secret of Harrow Manor. Shadow of Valhalla, which is that kind of that one. It was like the Undead Citadel, kind of like that. That's what Shadow of Valhalla is like. There's Affected the Manor. There's Rest, and Dreamback VR, and another horror themed Escape the Room that we played not that long ago. And then Sinister Halloween and Layers of Fear VR.
Wow.
So all of that on the first page here.
That's crazy.
And there's Battle Group VR, by the way. And in case you haven't heard, Radio Rent very much recommends that game.
Yeah, I think he's recommended it like 30 times. It must be really good.
Yeah, I know. It must be great.
Yeah, we need to check that out. Yeah, I didn't know that either, Scion. I was watching a video not too long ago, and it was like the single thing that would help your recordings, and I couldn't believe just running it in administrator mode makes such a huge difference.
Well, what are we talking about here? Admin mode?
No, just running administrator mode for OBS. It just significantly reduces the draw on your CPU for some reason.
So are you talking about running it as an administrator, or is there a specific mode in OBS?
Just right-clicking and running it as administrator.
So that gives you better performance?
Yeah, so what it does is it prioritizes the OBS. Anytime you run anything as administrator, it prioritizes it first. So instead of hitting the OBS in the recording, it's gonna put that first, and then everything else will, for whatever reason, you're running other stuff, it'll prioritize those things first, and then OBS takes the hit. So,
well, there you go. If you didn't know, now you know. Pro tips from Ruuts.
Yeah, surprising place to get it from too. For me, usually I don't have the pro tips. Usually I'm taking the pro tips.
There you go. You know who else likes to take the tip?
My mom!
Yeah, I heard that. About her.
Anyway, so after I played Kobold, I was upset because I wanted to do a horror themed video for my Lethal Weasel VR channel. So we went on to the next one on my hit list, which was Dreadeye. And Dreadeye is a title that I learned about on Reddit. Apparently one of our followers, somebody who watches either this channel or the Weasel channel, commented on a Reddit post that I was on like months ago. And it was talking about the best horror games. And the guy left a comment saying that he was a fan of the show, that his taste in horror games was very similar to my taste in horror games. And he suggested to me that I check out Dreadeye. And he said, admittedly, it's not the best game, but there's some cool parts in it. And so that's what I did. I checked out Dreadeye, and it was okay, man. It was a very good looking game. Like visually, it really looked good, especially in the new headset. And it basically plays like a cooking game. Like you're literally, you have a cauldron in front of you and this evil spell book, and that they give you the recipes just like a cooking game would, and you cook up some spirits basically, and then you have kind of like this alternating series between you cooking something and a scary part, and then you cook some more, then another scary part. So yeah, and it was like, I don't know, an hour long, a little more, and I like this sort of thing. So
yeah, so you're spirit cooking, huh?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I don't know if I want to spirit cook, even in a game.
Well, let me just say that no children were harmed during the making of that Let's Play.
Oh, well, that's good. Because if you said that, you have to tell your wife. You're like, unfortunately, I harmed one of our children in the making of this Let's Play. But that's good. That's good to know. So you definitely recommend this?
I did reference Marina Abramovich or whatever her name was once during the video, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's a creepy Creepy lady, man.
You watch your mouth. You're going to get us banned off YouTube.
Yeah, she's nice. She's a nice lady.
Anyway, spooky game, very easy to play. Anybody can play this, and I mean, it's kind of nice that they give you something to do, and they even pepper in a couple of shooter stages, Roots, where they put a couple guns in your hands. All of a sudden, it's just like it's kind of abrupt. What happens? It becomes a completely different type of game, and you black out after one of these spirits attacks you, and then you're in a completely different place, and it becomes a zombie wave shooter for about 5 minutes, and then you go back to cooking again.
Yeah, see, that's why I try to avoid this kind of stuff in real life. I don't want to block out and come back to some kind of weird haunted stuff attacking me. So,
Well, that's the joy of it, though, in VR.
Yeah. That's definitely at least it's in VR. You don't have to worry about anything really getting you.
Right, exactly. That's the whole thing. I don't understand people getting freaked out and taking their headset off. I mean, sometimes this stuff can get rather intense, but at the end of the day, it's just a game, and we all know it. So, I mean, why are you like physically scared of the game? It's not going to hurt you. It might get loud. It might show you something unsettling, but it's not going to hurt you. So
yeah, the day that it does hurt you, then you should be worried, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It was on sale for like $7 or something like that. I think it's worth that. If it gets any higher, I would say wait till it goes back on sale.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely good to know, and maybe I'll pick it up on a sale if I want to do some spirit cooking, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Tis the season, Roots.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, these last two titles are yours. Your last two Oculus Link titles. So tell us about it.
All right. Well, this first one is a game that we play all the time, Grip, and it's one of the ones that I didn't like. Okay, so I first set up, and this is why I played it Link. I set it up wirelessly, and this is before I got my new router. And I couldn't play it, Wes. This game was not playable in virtual desktop. I had to go Link, and I was appreciative that I had the Link because until I bought this ModMic right here, there's no way for me to use the mic without the Link. Can't do wireless VD without a microphone. So the Link comes in handy, and it looked and played just as well on the Link as it ever has, and I was glad that this was one of the games I can play again. You know, I have to think about that, until they've fixed some of these games. I might not be able to play them. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm not sure I ever played Grip on actual Rift S. I think every time I've ever played it's been on Link.
Yeah, I played it on the Rift S a lot, and it looked amazing on the Link as well. It's definitely a game that runs really well with Link. Absolutely.
Yeah, and what about what it looked like with the new visuals?
It was just really sharp, man. Everything looked like, even the tires, man. I was tripping on the way the tires looked, because I was playing with Scion and Overgees, and yeah, granted Scion and VR Spry Guy were kicking my ass like they always do, but it just looked so sharp, and I mean, it already was a beautiful game, but it just looks so good in the new headset. And runs so well. I mean, it just was a good, fun game to play for sure.
Did the speed still translate in spite of it
being at 72,
running at only 72 hertz?
It seemed like everything was the same. I didn't notice any difference. But if you think about it, I've been playing it at 80. So what's the difference between 72 and 80? Is not that much.
Not unless you're playing contractors. It's a big difference there.
Yeah, well, whatever helps you sleep at night when you get killed. No, just kidding. But yeah, no, I would imagine it does make a big difference. Absolutely. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, dude, I think this is a great game and a good example of the type of game you're not really going to miss out on too much playing this wired versus wireless, because it's a seated gamepad experience anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like you need to be running around at room scale.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it was absolutely unplayable. I couldn't even watch it virtual desktop with my original router. I couldn't do spectator mode. It was because it's so fast paced that it was just glitching all over the place. And I just told them, no, I got to switch to my to the link if I want to play, because there's just no way it's happening. So
It says you came first. I can't get over that. It's hilarious. You
yeah,
came second.
72, 73, whatever it takes is what Radio Runt says. Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely. You got to take any advantage you can get when you're playing with a cheater like Cylon.
That's right, man. I don't know how he's always stabbing you in the face. Somehow he's got it down though. So
yeah, absolutely. Anyway, this next one interested me. I actually intended on getting in and checking this one out, but I ran out of time. So tell me about your experience in Stormland on Oculus Quest 2.
okay, so my first thought with Stormland was Mamefan was talking about how the draw distance didn't look as good on the Quest 2 as it does on the Rift S. So that immediately made me want to go in and look, because I'm like, okay, I want to see how does it not look good? How does it look, right? So I initially, just like I do everything else, it's a lot easier to just push virtual desktop and go into it wirelessly and try it, right? So I clicked on to go into it, and there's so much reprojection. I've never, this is the only game that I've ever seen this on so far. No matter how I move my head, I'm looking, it's just reprojection city. I even turned down the graphics. Well, first I went and I turned down everything else in virtual desktop. I went from like 100. I usually leave it at 90. I went down to like 30 or 40 bit rate just to see if that would make a difference. Didn't make a difference at all. I reduced the resolution in game from the high epic settings to low, and then it looked like shit, like blurry as hell, but it stopped jittering as much. But I came away from the experience because I immediately after that, I just plugged in my link, and this is what I told you. And I was kind of alluding to it earlier with what Jim Hall was asking or saying in the Discord. I realized that my idea that every game is going to be wireless is not going to happen. Like, this game is just something about it is just not going to work. And this is what I was talking about. Maybe Zach Fontaine throws this thing on and it fucking runs smooth. On a 3090, but on the 2080, it's not virtual desktop. It's not happening, at least in the way that what I've seen so far. Now, on the flip side, when I hooked up the Oculus Link, it looked phenomenal. Now, I will preface this that I did run it at 1.2 super sample, which is, I guess, the 2070 plus setting, and it looked phenomenal. I didn't see the draw distance thing Mamefan saw, but I was also super sampling. But it looked beautiful, ran amazing. It just cannot, for me, on the new router, I can't run it on virtual desktop at all. So.
Well, this is a very special case when it comes to VR games, because this is one of those that you can tweak an infinite number of ways, and everybody's going to get a different experience with it. And until now, I would say that we really haven't had graphics cards that could run this game natively maxed out. Like, everybody had to dial something back to play this in the first place. So now that you're trying to play it through Link or virtual desktop, these being more demanding processes on your system, I got to imagine that you're going to have to tweak it even more. And I'm not sure exactly what Mamefan did or didn't do, but I know that I did play this via Oculus Link on Quest 1, and it looked great. It looked perfect. I didn't have any problem with it at all. But again, it wasn't maxed out then, and I got to imagine that that wasn't the case for you either when you played it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, it ran great and looked good on the Link. It just it's just too much for the virtual desktop at this time. I don't think it's the bit rate. So I think it's the internet's fine. I think it's the graphics, the stress on the card. So I think somebody that has a 3080 or a 3090 probably could stream this, no problem. But with my hardware, it's just not happening.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what I can do with it with this vanilla 1080 because I've never tried it. Again, I played it on Quest 1 through Link, but I was running a 1080 Ti at that time. Now we're dialed back, right? Now we're on a higher uh, resolution display, a lot more pixel
Mm.
density, and a lower powered graphics card. So that very well could make a very big difference.
Yeah, and that's something to remember too. Is like it's easy to forget that we're increasing fidelity, so it's going to be harder on the hardware altogether, all the way around, and then you're trying to do it wirelessly on top of it. It just ain't happening.
Yeah, well, there are limits. There are levels to this game, Roots, and there are limits. So at least there are for now.
Yeah,
And again, I'm sure that the NVIDIA 3000 series cards are going to make a big headway into those limits.
yep. And if I can play 75 to 80% of my games wirelessly and have to play the rest with a link cable, if anything, I've justified my link cable purchase. So
Yeah, absolutely. I would concur there. It's kind of something that you have to have because virtual desktop, as well as it does work, it's not perfect.
yeah, no, not by any stretch of the imagination, right?
And that leads us into our final uh, category here, and that is virtual desktop. We played, or Roots rather, played a handful of games in virtual desktop. I only played one, and we'll go ahead and just talk about the one that I did play because it was a game that I played in virtual desktop on Quest 1. So I was familiar with how it performed on that system. I wanted to see if it would be any different, any better on this system. And in spite of running with the older graphics card Roots, I found that it did run better. It ran significantly better on the Quest 2, even with all the extra pixels,
Wow.
which is amazing to me. And it really speaks to the support from Guy Godin. Uh, of course, I'm talking about Lies Beneath. Um, it really speaks to the support that he's given to virtual desktop. He's improved this VR streaming aspect of it since the day that he launched it. And for it to play as much better as it did, despite the fact that I'm on a more demanding headset with lesser capable hardware, it really speaks volumes to that guy's talent. So kudos to you, Mr. Godin.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing what he's done with this program and what they can do with it, right? Like even just and this is a recommendation. I'll start off right off the bat that they say that Guy says um, you should. There's a boost clock mode, and he recommends that everybody at least try it and see how it works because they're going to across the board boost everybody's clock, do a boost clock on it or whatever the hell it's called and get it to run a little bit faster. But until then, it makes it run so much smoother. I don't know. I'm assuming you used that after I told you, or if you seen much of a difference with that or not. But I did, and this game looked phenomenally well when I played it. I couldn't believe, and this was another game that had the cloud save. Wes, I like jumped in there, and all of a sudden I was on the last fucking boss, and I was like, holy shit, man. And I died just as easily and horribly as I did the last time, but this time I did it wirelessly, and I felt a little bit better about it. So
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because the when I played this before on Quest 1, it was playable, would be how I would describe it, but it was very, very jittery. Uh, this time, using the boost clock, and I don't really know just how much the boost clock setting had to do with it, but I can say that I played for a good long while before it stuttered even the first time. I thought it was just going to run perfect. It seemed quality wise like I was plugged into a PC with a native PCVR headset. And then I would get an occasional stutter here and there, but that was with me in here. I didn't even walk into the room with my router. I'm in the next room, uh, but it ran almost perfectly. Um, again on lesser hardware. So extremely impressed. And as far as the game goes, man, what an underrated game. More people should be talking about this as Halloween approaches. People keep asking for suggestions for good horror games. They do so many of the common tropes of horror well in this game. It's spooky as all get out, and then there's uh, like certain areas and parts of the game that are downright terrifying.
Yeah, especially when all sorts of stuff's coming out of nowhere and attacking you, and you don't know what the hell's going on. Definitely can get crazy. This game it's just hands down one of the best horror games I've played, and it worked and ran phenomenally well for me on the virtual desktop, to the point that I couldn't tell a difference as far as how it played at all. It just ran really well. So, and it's a testament to you. You're using the 5G. You're not even on Wi-Fi 6, and it's running that good. That's really good.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm using a Netgear Nighthawk 1750, so it's a fast router. It more than doubles the maximum connection speed of Oculus Quest Virtual Desktop. So like 866 megabytes per second is the max, no matter what you're using Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 5. I don't really know what the protocol difference is though that makes it run better, but a lot of people are saying that the 6 runs better. So
The
that's got to
six.
be something other than pure speed that allows that to
It
happen.
says the 6 is 1200 max, or at least on my thing when I went on where it says connected. It says a max of 1200, and I guess
Oh,
it's
does it now?
hmm,
Yeah, see, mine always maxes at 866 on Quest 1 and Quest 2. So maybe it is faster. You got a faster maximum with uh with Wi-Fi 6.
yeah, they say it's like 40% faster or whatever. But I mean, I don't think it's all 100% translated, but any amount is better. So for sure,
There you go. Maybe worth picking up, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'd like to see you try it on a regular gaming router and see what the difference is and how much better 6 is versus 5.
Well, I'll tell you what, and when we get to what Chris Richardson was talking about, one game I couldn't even run on the 5, but I was able to run it on the 6 flawlessly. So there's got to be something to it. But I don't know.
There you go. Again, highly recommend this title to anyone who loves horror games. I just played through the Boathouse Roots, and it was just from the moment you walk up to it and you hear that scream, it was just such classic horror that I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I love this game. This is one of Dorilo's favorite games.
There you go. It's a questicle game as well, huh?
Yeah, yeah, crazy.
Anyway, these next titles, this is all Roots. The rest of the list is just stuff that Roots has played. The next 3 on the list here, though, are titles we've already talked about. So I'll just let you hit on each one of them really quickly
Briefly.
here, Roots, and tell us about what about your virtual desktop experience was different versus playing wired.
Oh, well, in depth. Again, what's weird is, Wes, is I told you yesterday, the buttons are different on virtual desktop. Like when I go to throw my shard, I have to use the joystick to push in, and that's what throws it. When I link it, it's the grip button. I don't know why that's changed, but you know what the weirdest part is? It changed today. And I don't know if the virtual desktop update, like I went to go into end death again, and now I was using the grip again. I'm like, what is going on? It really kind of made me second guess my sanity for a second until I verified that it changed, because I thought, man, this is weird. But the big
Colorado moment.
Yeah, but the biggest difference for me, Wes, with virtual desktop, and this is another reason why I think the Wi-Fi 6 is actually better. I am able to, and this is one of the games I've gone downstairs and I've played this game wirelessly, flawlessly, and it blew me away, because like I shouldn't be able to do that. You know what I mean? It's a complete floor down, and it's like I'm next to the router. So I don't know. It made me worry about how much penetration this Wi-Fi is into my body. I don't know how that, and if it's going through the floor and the walls that easily, is it going in through my body as well? But wireless VR, Wes, maybe it's worth it. Maybe I have a couple years less, but I have some amazingly Wi-Fi wireless moments. So
You know who doesn't mind getting penetrated through their body, Roots?
My mom.
oh, she sure does not. But no, oh, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say that's a testament. It's not only a testament to the efficacy of Wi-Fi 6, but of playing wirelessly via virtual desktop. In Depth is a title that latency matters in. You can't have latency in this game and do any good at it at all. The fact that you not only played it, but you played it on an completely entirely different floor from your computer and your router, it says it all.
Yeah, that's crazy. It just blew me away. It was just one of those moments that it opened my eyes to how good this headset is, as people are shitting on it and calling the Quest poo and all this crap. It's the best headset I've ever put on my face, bro. You know what I mean? It's just, it's good.
Yeah, Scion says that it's the Mandela effect, and they went back and actually changed the control scheme of this game.
Maybe
that's what they do, right?
Yeah, dude. It's all about the Mandela effect. Let's go back and prove it. But no, I enjoyed every moment of this. This is becoming one of my favorite games to stream, because it's the easiest. It runs so well, and I'm getting better at it. So
D-Rail says he just got a shipping notification for his 3080 for the Win 3.
No, oh my shit. Holy crap. Nice, dude. Congratulations. Now, if you are ready, I will message you on Discord my address where to ship it, and then we'll be happy.
We need to take a look at it for science, right?
Yes, absolutely. But my next one is an equally amazing story, and it starts kind of the same way, and that's Beat Saber. I went into it, I think I put it at, I don't know, I can't remember what the bit rates that I started with on the 5, but it was not playable, man. I couldn't really get the latency right, and this is another game where it matters, right?
Let me ask you, what are you setting your VR bit rate to?
Right now, 90. And
see, because I was running it Lies Beneath at 100.
Yeah, see, I originally started at 50, and then I got some post, and they had a bunch of the different tips and tricks and stuff. One of them being the clock boost, and then they recommended 90, that was like the sweet spot. So I just kind of set it at that. Now you could probably go to 100. I set it to, at one point, once I got on the new router, and everything ran phenomenally perfect. I couldn't believe it. So much so that I'm now playing 360 Beat Saber, because I don't own it on the Quest, and I don't really like Beat Saber that much, but I can go in circles, Wes. But it's perfect. I've even done it at Expert Plus. Now, granted, I can't hit every block because I'm not that good, but every block I hit was solid and it worked. So this is a game that I would recommend for sure with the router. It's definitely phenomenal. Now, I will tell you, do not try to crank it up to 150 bit rate unless you want noodle things, because my things were literally bending. It was so weird. I've never seen anything like it, but it was actually kind of cool to try just to see it. I would recommend that, because it was weird to see my sabers bending as I was trying to hit stuff.
Right.
So
well, there you go. That's another testament to the efficacy of the wireless VR. I mean, Beat Saber, man, this is pretty much the standard by which latency is tested in VR. And Expert Plus, if you can play through any song in Expert Plus, then you're not experiencing game-breaking latency.
yeah, absolutely. And it just looked phenomenally good, and ran well. So this is another game that I recommend playing on wireless VR as well.
There you go.
And I can't talk about Beat Saber without bringing up my baby, Audica. Now this one, again, it's one that if you don't have it right, it doesn't feel good. And one of the things that you can do with virtual desktop is you can set it to 90 frames per second, and it felt and ran perfect. So much so that I was breaking records. That's how I could tell that I was it was legit. I wasn't missing anything, and I was actually breaking my records. So.
Well, there you go. Did you break any of Jim Hall's records?
No, I'm not gonna break any of Jim Hall's or Radio Runs. Radio Run, man. Like I said, dude, this dude is he lives, sleeps, and breathes this game. So.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's a solid game. I've often called it the best rhythm game, best pure rhythm game in VR. But in the same breath, I'm excluding games like Pistol Whip and Thumper. Yeah, I would prefer both of those to Audica, but that's just a personal taste thing, not any kind of judgment on the game.
Yeah, it's just messed up that you would even say that. I'm just kidding. All right.
What about Field of View? Did Field of View play into any of
it did
kind of
actually.
deficiency?
It's funny that you say that, because I've swore up and down my field of view is bigger, and it did. It felt better. I know my field of view got bigger. Whether it's because I'm in the middle slot, it's closer to my face. I don't know what the reason is, but it absolutely I can see the full. I feel like I can see everything. Before, I felt like there was a little bit that I couldn't see for some reason. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't really notice any kind of field of view issues until it became a hot topic, and it was just the opposite with Quest 1. With Quest 1, I was pretty regularly saying, "Man, this looks like I'm looking through binoculars," but I never really noticed it on Quest 2 until people started talking about it. But now that I look at it, that probably is a little bit smaller, the field of view.
I wonder if it's because you're on that right slot, huh?
Right slot. What
the 63 or the 68 versus the 63. If you're right in the center.
No. I moved the thing down to the 2 spot today.
Okay.
Because there's a way that I judge it in Quest. When I had the full IPD slider, you can see the each eye individually when it's pushed all the way out, and the way I'll tune it in is when it goes from being 2 separate pictures and comes into being one oval crystal clear picture in the middle, then that's when I consider it tuned. Well, when I had it in the 3 spot today, I noticed that I was kind of getting the 2 eye overall view, which is kind of a little bit too wide for my eyes. So I moved it into 2, and it was perfect. It was right in where it needed to be. So I don't know if it has something to do with that glasses spacer, or if maybe I'm wrong about what my IPD is. But the 2 is actually working better for me than the 3.
Cool. Well, let's hope for Scion right there, right?
Well, it's got to be perfect, dude. It can't be 1 degree off for Scion. He's a special case.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to be exactly 66.8, bro.
Yeah, well, and if it's not, you're screwed. But I guess my next one is one we already talked about before, and this is going to answer Chris Richardson's question, because he was literally saying, dude, this is on the list for games that are compatible with, and it seemed like you were really baffled, Chris, and I was too for a second there. This game with the Router 6, because I couldn't, it was unplayable, just like Beat Saber. This thing is so smooth. I cannot, I mean, you ask Scion, ask Overgees, anybody I raced with last night, Scion even was almost telling me to shut up about it. He didn't quite say that, but he was like, dude, man, you just keep bragging about this wireless, because I could not believe how good it was running, and how, I mean, it was, granted, it's taxing. It was definitely a lot taxing more on the video card in the processor, but man, it ran smooth. I just can't believe how good it ran.
It really puts a premium value on those new graphics cards, doesn't it? When you get this new stuff and you go from being well ahead of the power curve of what you need to now slightly under it. It makes you wonder how much better it could get if not only you could run the wireless at 150 bit rate, super sample to 200, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. It's one of those things that felt like everything was perfectly good in Roots' world, and now it is one of those things that I've made this comment way back in the day when, because Anthony will get on his kicks where he'll be talking about all this. He wants all these bells and whistles and I guess it's all of us with all these headsets, right? But we have to scale it back and remember that our video cards can't even handle one of those things, let alone all of them at once. We're just seeing a resolution bump, and then of course the wireless, everything's taxing. So absolutely, it's made me want to get a 3080 that much more, but I don't think it's going to be happening for a while, man. I'm not willing to play the game everybody else is having to play to try to get these things. I'll just step back and wait a year before I'll go through all that bullshit.
Well, I'm waiting on EVGA to save me. I haven't been watching it as diligently as I did for the first week or two, because there's always that promise that I'm in line, and eventually it's going to be my turn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Onakazi just asked if I said what router I have. I did not. It's a Asus AX3000 RTAX58U. It's like $180. As far as I know, there's several different Wi-Fi 6s out there. I mean, if you just get a Wi-Fi 6 router and it says it's got up to the speeds, and it's an AX, a 1200 or whatever, I think it should be fine. There's ones that are way more expensive than what I have, and I think I saw one as cheap as $80. They didn't have in stock, so I went to Best Buy, and it was happening today. It was not happening on shipping. So
you can get cheaper Wi-Fi 6 routers. I just don't know what the difference in quality would be, if there is even a difference in quality.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm sure there is. There's got to be it to some extent, but I mean, I know that I didn't get the most expensive one, and it is working really well, and I'd be interested to hear if anybody else is having similar results with a less expensive router, so.
Yeah, I would be willing or interested in hearing that as well. So if either or any of you can answer these questions, please do so by coming to the Discord, link in the description, and letting us know how does your Wi-Fi 6 router do with virtual desktop.
Yep, absolutely. And rounding out the last two, this one, actually, somebody mentioned this a long time ago. They said, don't forget about Jeff. We didn't forget about Jeff. There was no way I was not going to try Half-Life Alyx in virtual desktop. I know, was it Paradise Decay did a video on it as well. And I am happy to report that this game ran just as smoothly and as well as every other game that I've tried to play in virtual desktop, with the exception of Stormland. It ran perfect, and it was just another game that I was psyched to see that I was able to go into wirelessly. And I can't imagine, this is one of the games I can't imagine ever playing wired, because I want to move around, I want to spin around and shoot those things jumping in my face without having to worry about my tether. So
yeah, so I actually played a little bit of Half-Life Alyx myself this week. Wired, of course. I didn't play it through virtual desktop, but I went back to the mods roots. I started on, what's it called? The Lost Case? What's the name of that one?
The Lost Case, where that has like 3 or 4 hard guys to kill right off the bat. They keep killing me, dude. I can't get past that first door. I'm sure you did.
I'm trying to think. I didn't have any real trouble getting started with it. I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
There's a doorway. You start in the beginning. And there's like this ramp going up a doorway, and there's a guard up there. And there's you shoot him, you kill him, and then there's another one behind a glass thing, and then there's another guy.
All right, with the red window.
And I'm not taking it slow enough, but I just always die when I try to go through that door. This does.
Well, what you got to do, there's first of all, there's a head crab up there to start with.
Mm.
You let the you kind of draw the head crab into the barnacle and let the barnacle kill the head crab for you.
Oh,
Then
okay.
you just you shoot the barnacle, and then you know you've got cover from the first guy. So as long as you take your time and pick your shots right, a few headshots will put that guy down. Now with the next two guys, they're in behind the glass, right? But that glass is breakable, and the guy you just killed has a grenade on his belt. So all you got to do is shoot the window out and throw a grenade in there, and you've got those two dead.
Mm.
And then that leaves one more guy around the corner, and again you've got cover because there's boxes everywhere.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll have to give that a shot, and maybe I'll get to the second room. But that's cool. I mean, there's all sorts of new levels coming out. They just did a BioShock one, which I'm sure you're looking forward to going into, right?
And the Harry Potter one.
Oh my God, that's the one I want to go into.
Yeah, yeah. A guy left a comment on one of our videos like last week. He wanted to let me know that there was a Bioshock level and let you know that there's a Harry Potter level.
Oh wow, I'm gonna have to go check that out, man. I'm super psyched for that Hogwarts game.
Yeah,
Even though it's
yeah.
flat, you know. So
Well, I'm going to totally be taking that to Helix Vision. So,
yeah, that'll be badass, right?
yeah, it should be, as long as we can get it working, which I
Uh,
imagine at some point we'll be able to.
I think so. And then my last one was Scion's Baby, and I just knew I had to go into this for Scion. As a matter of fact, I went into it wirelessly first, and I hadn't even been in there with I think 2 minutes. I checked my Discord, and Scion's like, "Hey, how does it look in the new headset?" He's that interested in how this is his game, right? And it ran good. It ran, this is another performance, high performance one. So it ran good, but it didn't run phenomenally well, wirelessly. I mean, it did run well, but when I cranked it up to what I wanted it to be, it seemed like there was a little bit of, not, or glitchiness, I guess. But when I ran it on the link, my Lord, dude, I cranked it up full, everything, textures inside, resolution to 200, and Scion will crap his pants how good it looked, dude. With the link, it was just phenomenal. Like, I couldn't believe how sharp everything looked, and I think that's how I'm going to be playing this game when I play it, because it just looked so good that I want to play it looking that good. So
Did you get hooked on the game again the way we did the first time?
I didn't get hooked on it as much this time because I was on a get in and get out, but I think I'm torn. Science said this would be a good game to stream, but this is a good game to get not stream because you get stuck, and nothing more frustrating than being stuck on a game in a stream, wandering around in circles.
I remember where you're at too, and the next little bit requires some reading and thinking, so probably not the best streaming title at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, it looked phenomenal, and I couldn't believe how good it looked after I turned everything up all the way, and it was cool.
Yeah, I agree. Great game. I got to imagine cool looking. Although I have noticed with some of these older games, when you're looking at them through the lenses of a newer display, their oldness does show a little bit in some of the assets. Like it's kind of like hooking a Nintendo up to a flat screen. It kind of looks better on the older, lower resolution TV. That seems to be the case on some of these older titles. Not that they look bad. You can always super sample your way out of it, but on native resolutions, you can kind of see uh, some some artifacting, or I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't look as good as it probably would on like Scion's headset.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because where I noticed it was like when I went to go talk to or push the button for Farley or any of those robot things or whatever holograms. The letters, the wording was clear, but it was bigger and blockier. It looked out of place because everything else is so sharp and then that text wasn't the same. It should have been smaller and more sharp.
Right.
But other than
But
that,
it wasn't made to be viewed on what you're viewing it on, so it just don't look right.
yeah, absolutely. So
Well, there you have it, friends. A plethora of games tried in every which way that you can play a game on Oculus Quest 2. And the consensus is what it was yesterday. Highly, highly impressed with what I consider to be the best VR headset I've ever used.
yeah, absolutely. And this is I guess a good time to give Wes a shout out for being such a trooper. It's so late for you, dude. I can tell you're ready to fall asleep right now for the last hour.
Dude. I've been marathoning today, just playing games, and then there's doing real life stuff, and straight out of the headset into this 3 hour show. It's
A bit much.
my hair's coming down. That means it's time to wrap it up.
That's right.
Anyway, I'd like to thank all you guys for showing up and sticking it out with me till 2 o'clock in the morning. Holy shit, we did a show till 2 o'clock in the morning. Thanks to you all. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Give us those clicks, click the thumbs, click the bell, do all those things. That helps our channel to grow, and we appreciate it very much. Again, as always, there's a invitation in the description to join our Discord. That's where the conversation of the community takes place. We are on there every day talking VR, talking about some of the stuff from the show, talking about stuff that doesn't make the show, talking about stuff that has nothing to do with VR. Drop by, say hi.
Absolutely.
And then again, of course, for those of you who want to do a little something extra to help support us, there is always Patreon. And a reminder to those of you who are patrons that a brand new money show is coming this week. We finally have access, Ruuts and I, to the same VR platform, so we can meet each other on location and pump out some money show goodness for all of you. For those of you who aren't patrons, $3 per month gives you access not only to the weekly show notes, but also to the aforementioned and always awesome money show. So thank you to all of you who are supporting us, and thank you to those of you who are considering it.
Absolutely.
All right, with that said, friends, I would like to thank you all once again for watching, and for Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, maybe the next day. We've got more content coming this week, so stay tuned. Make sure you click that bell, because this is just the beginning of our Quest 2 coverage. So
Absolutely.
and we will see you tomorrow, the next day, sometime. See you soon.